in Konoha. At first, I annihilated the Sarutobi clan. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26. Takes 50 to 50 shock. I know. Kanai sat down on the bed and gently stroked Zirihung's face. He knew that after today, if he didn't make it clear, he might not have the chance in the future. He immediately said seriously, "Hung, are you willing to wait until I grow up?" "What do you mean?" Zirihung's cheeks were flushed. While she was happy, she also felt a sense of uneasiness. "It means literally, confession." Kanai smiled. Confession? Zirihung was dumbfounded. Joy, hesitation, excitement, worry, and other emotions kept flashing in her eyes, and finally her mind was blank. "Yes, it's a confession." Kanai nodded. "Are you serious? I'm 7 or 8 years older than you. Also, I don't have a good temper. I have a lot of bad habits, and I like to drink late at night." In a flash, she exposed all her shortcomings. A woman 3 years older than her husband is a treasure. Kanai chuckled and said, "As for other aspects, I don't think there are any shortcomings. After all, no one is perfect, and I have shortcomings too." Zirihung was stunned. "What are your shortcomings?" "Young, handsome, gifted, powerful, and almost calm at all times, except when facing Sarutobi Hiruzen. He is calm and composed, but not rigid, and he always teases her to death. He is like a veteran in the love field. If you have to say a shortcoming, then there is one: fickleness. It seems that this kid, while liking me, is also entangled with the little girl of the Uchiha family. It seems that you already know." Kanai's smile faded, and before Zirihung could react, he hugged her in his arms and said softly, "For a long time to come, maybe we will separate, or maybe I will take the initiative to distance myself from you, even make you feel strange. But please believe that no matter what happens, I will always be the me you know." 10 years later, it will be the 4th Ninja World War. By then, everything will be settled. The next day, Kanai came to the agreed place with Kakashi, a mountaintop outside Konoha village, where few people go. It was almost noon and the sun was scorching. Kakashi seemed to have been waiting here early, and was almost exhausted by the sun. "You are so slow, Junior." This was the first sentence Kakashi said after seeing Kanai. "I'm sorry, Senior Kakashi, I lost my way on the road of life today." Kanai said the wording of Kakashi in the original book, to perfunctorily deal with Naruto's Team 7, and threw out a bottle of ice water. Kakashi took the ice water, showing an expression that he would believe you, turned around, took off his mask, and drank the ice water. "How about this? As compensation, I will treat you to lunch later, and you can choose the place." Kanai continued. "Then I won't be polite," Kakashi said with his back to Kanai. "Hokage asked me to teach you some ninjutsu suitable for you. Have you measured your chakra attributes?" Thunder and earth. Kanai concealed fire, water, yin and yang. The 2 attributes of yin and yang are beyond the cognitive scope of ordinary ninjas, so it's better not to mention them. For fire attribute ninjutsu, he has already learned the Great Fireball, Impatience, and Great Dragon Fire. Kakashi has nothing to teach him. For earth attribute ninjutsu, because he has used the earth core beheading technique, he can't hide it, even if he wants to. Kakashi is not good at water attribute. In the future, he can use Shisu's right eye to copy it from other people. As for thunder attribute, it is purely because he wants to learn Kakashi's Chidori. It is impossible for him to expose 4 chakra attributes at once and change the nature of chakra to the extreme. Otherwise, the old guy Sarutobi Hiruzen will not be able to sleep. You are born with 2 attributes, not only illusion, but also lightning, which is second only to wind in rarity. It seems that you are really a genius. Kakashi put on his mask again and turned around. "So, have you decided what type of ninjutsu you want to learn?" Kanai pretended to think for a moment and said, "I'm good at illusion. Although I can usually gain a great advantage in battle, it is not very useful once I meet a ninja like Kakashi who has the Sharingan and can easily break illusions. In that case, I will be in a very passive situation. So, I hope Kakashi can teach me a defensive ninjutsu and an offensive ninjutsu." For defensive ninjutsu, choose the B-level ninjutsu earth style, earth flow wall. As for offensive ninjutsu, I think Kakashi's Chidori is pretty good. You have a big appetite. It seems that Han has told you a lot about me. Kakashi's mouth twitched fiercely. Earth flow wall is fine, but Chidori may not work. I'm not questioning your talent, but Chidori has a fatal flaw. When attacking, it needs to move at high speed. It may be counterattacked by the opponent because of unclear vision. It needs to cooperate with Sharingan to play the best role. I can't teach you this. You can rest assured about this, senior. I was born with dynamic vision that is different from ordinary people. This is nothing to me. What's more, I don't use it as a frontal attack, but to assist with illusion, to make up for the lack of attack power. Kanai said lightly. Is that so? Kakashi suddenly realized, in this case, then let's start. It was agreed in advance that Lord Hokage only approved us one day. No. Strictly speaking, we only have half a day left. At this point, he covered his forehead with his right hand, looked up at the scorching sun, that was like a fireball, and added, in other words, I only have half a day to teach you. As for how much you can learn, it depends on you. It doesn't matter, let's start. Kanai said. For him who has already reached the maximum level of Earth Attribute Chakra Nature Change and Lightning Attribute Chakra Nature Change, it is not difficult to master these two ninjutsu. Half an hour later, Kakashi looked at the huge earth wall behind Kanai, on which was engraved his special dog head, and then looked at the high-intensity electric current in Kanai's hand that was like a sharp blade, and instantly began to doubt his life. In less than half an hour, you learned a B-level Earth Escape Ninjutsu and an A-level Lightning Escape Ninjutsu. Kakashi's mouth twitched. Well, I say, you are a monster. If it weren't for your normal eyes, I would have suspected that you had a transplant of the Sharingan. Haha. Senior, you are really joking. I don't have that kind of courage, nor do I have the bad taste to dig out my eyes and transplant the Sharingan. Of course, I'm not talking about you. After all, this is a gift from your best friend. Kanai said with a wry smile. PS. Second update. Please recommend and vote for the monthly ticket. Chapter 27. Goodbye Naruto. Your words of comfort are really not pleasant to hear at all. Kakashi rolled his eyes. Since you have already learned it, let's go down the mountain. If you don't understand something in the future, just come and ask me. In this damn weather, if you stay any longer, you will be dried up by the Sunday. It's just right. It's not past mealtime yet. Let's go have lunch together. Just consider it as my reward to the senior. I wonder what the senior wants to eat. How about a Ichiraku ramen? Kanai said. Haven't you decided for me? Kakashi said weakly. Perhaps it was because Kanai often went in and out of Uchiha and had a close friend of Uchiha like him. He didn't have much aversion to Kanai. He just thought that this was a junior with a bit of a black belly. Soon, the two came to Ichiraku Ramen. Here, they met an unexpected person, Uzumaki Naruto. Kanai-san. After a year since last winter, Naruto was particularly excited to see Kanai again. Perhaps even Kanai himself didn't know that he had only treated Naruto to ramen twice, both times when he had intercepted Hinata, but he made Naruto feel the warmth of family love. Replacing Iruka, he became the first person to enter his heart. Oh, it's you. How come you're still so short after a year? Have you been busy eating instant noodles and not eating properly? Kanai stepped forward and gently rubbed Naruto's yellow hedgehog head, as if petting a dog. After seeing the orphan of his teacher, Kakashi's expression suddenly changed, and his face under the mask looked extremely unnatural. Naruto smiled and enjoyed the time with Kanai. Then, in an admiring tone, he said excitedly, that Chiya-san. That, I've heard about it. Chiya-san, you have only graduated from the ninja school for less than a year, and you have been promoted to Jonin. In the future, I want to become an excellent ninja like Chiya-san, and then become a Hokage. Is that so? Then you should work hard. If it is you, I believe you can do it. Chiya responded casually and sat down. Boss, give me 3 bowls of pork bone ramen. As for the side dishes, add whatever you like. I will treat you today. Okay, Chiya brother. Ichiraku responded happily and began to prepare ramen. After hearing Chiya's words of encouragement, Naruto was stunned for a moment. Invisibly, Chiya added another label in Naruto's heart and became the first person to recognize him. Kakashi saw the change in Naruto's expression and did not speak the whole time. Until after the meal, Naruto had to return to school, so he quickly finished his meal and left early. Kakashi spoke first and asked hesitantly, "Kanye, are you very familiar with that kid?" Kanye pretended to be stunned for a moment and replied, "Not really. Including today, I've only met him 3 times in total. I just treated him to ramen a few times because he was lonely." "Is that so?" Kakashi repeated and continued to ask, "Then you should know his identity. If I remember correctly, your parents died in the Ninetales Rebellion. Can you tell me why you don't hate that kid?" "Why should I hate him? The Ninetales is the Ninetales, Naruto is Naruto, and this little guy was at best a newborn baby at the time. What could he do?" Kanye asked back first, and then began to make indirect accusations. "I don't know who spread the rumor that Naruto is the Ninetales and made a good child, who was originally an orphan, live in the hatred and enmity of the villagers during his childhood. He drank expired milk and ate instant noodles. No one was willing to sell him anything he wanted. He was hungry all day. It's a miracle that he can survive until now." At this point, he did not forget to add, "If I know who it is, I will report it to the Hokage immediately." Rumors? Kakashi recalled his father, Konoha White Fang. His father was killed by rumors. Then he thought of Naruto's current situation and felt a little guilty. Although the third Hokage ordered that no one was allowed to approach the Jinchuriki, he, as a disciple of Naruto's father Minato Namikaze, had never cared for his teacher's orphan for so many years. What on earth have I been doing all these years? It was getting close to evening and the sun was setting. The sun set in the west and the various buildings of Konoha are set off, which looks particularly beautiful and prosperous. At this moment, on the rooftop of the Hokage building, Sarutobi Hiruzen put his hands behind his back. Behind him, Kakashi Hatake, who had changed into the clothes of an Anbu ninja, and knelt on one knee. "How is it, Kakashi? What impression do you have of the feeling of Chiya?" Sarutobi Hiruzen asked with his back to Kakashi Hatake. He naturally wouldn't be so kind as to let Kakashi teach Chiya ninjutsu. It was more of a test for Chiya. Although Kunoha had reported to him everything about Chiya, he also trusted Kunoha very much. But in the final analysis, Kunoha and Chiya were a master-disciple relationship. Because of his own experience with Orochimaru, it was inevitable that Kunoha would conceal some insignificant details from him, the Hokage. And these details can often really see through a person's character. This is also the reason why he assigned Kakashi to test Chiya before sending him undercover in Uchiha. Kakashi lowered his head and thought for a moment, then said what he was thinking, and said respectfully, "Excluding the blood limit, there is no doubt that he is a genius who is not inferior to Uchiha Itachi. It took him less than half an hour to learn the B-level Earth Escape ninjutsu Tsuchiwabi and the A-level ninjutsu Chidori. As a person, he is not a wicked person. On the contrary, he has a strong sense of justice. He can look at problems rationally. Perhaps because he is also an orphan, he has sympathy for the weak. Is that so?" Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled heavily. Generally speaking, Kakashi's evaluation is not much different from the information he has. But being able to look at problems rationally is a bit tricky. What he needs is a chess piece who blindly worships him and goes undercover in Uchiha. He does not need a Fujiwara Chiya who has the ability to think independently. If one is not handled well, Chiya may really do something against the will of his Hokage for the little girl of the Uchiha family, as Danzo said. This is what Sarutobi Hiruzen does not want to see. It seems that I have to spend some time to guide him. That kid's will of fire is not pure enough. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed in his heart. Hokage-sama. Just as Sarutobi Hiruzen was thinking about how to instill the will of fire into Chiya, Kakashi's voice interrupted his thoughts. "PS. First update. Please recommend and vote for me. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28, 3 Generations Invited. Anything else?" Sarutobi Hiruzen asked with some surprise. Today, I saw the teacher's child, Kakashi said with a heavy look. After he parted with Chiya, Kakashi did not come back to report his work immediately, but went to secretly observe Naruto. The result made Kakashi very sad. Naruto lacked discipline and was isolated by everyone in the village. In order to attract the attention of others and get recognition, he often resorted to pranks. As a result, not only did he not get any improvement, but he became even more disgusting. He was extremely tight financially, almost to the point of not having enough food, and because of the desire for convenience, he almost ate instant noodles without nutrition all day. Even the milk he drank was expired because it was extremely unpopular among the villagers. But he himself didn't know it. His studies were even worse. Without his parents urging, he could even say something as basic as chakra wrong, and he knew nothing about the three body techniques except the transformation technique. It is hard to imagine how Naruto survived until now. Minato's child. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought thoughtfully. He knew about Naruto's situation. Although there was the factor of Danzo maliciously spreading rumors, it was more the result of his indulgence or even acquiescence. On the one hand, after the Ninetales rebellion, the villagers needed an object to vent and divert their hatred. On the other hand, as the third Hokage, although he had many ways to ensure that Naruto lived the life he deserved as the son of a hero, he still let him fall into this situation. That's because only when the whole village hated Naruto, and isolated Naruto, Naruto would be lonely and extremely eager to be recognized and loved. And he, Sarutobi Hiruzen, appeared at this time, pulled Naruto in time, and gave him the spiritual comfort he needed. Became the only person in Naruto's life who brought him warmth. In that way, Naruto would be close to him, admire him, and even regard him as the only dawn of life. Only in this way can the Ninetales Jinchuriki be firmly controlled in the hands of the Hokage. That child is not doing well now. He eats instant noodles and expired milk every day. Hokage-sama, I want to provide Naruto with the minimum living security. Kakashi continued. I know. It's my negligence as a Hokage. Naruto will never be in this situation again in the future. Sarutobi Hiruzen still had no intention of letting Kakashi contact Naruto. Instead, he played the victim as usual, took the responsibility on himself, and made a promise. Even if it was to improve Naruto's living conditions, he, the Hokage, had to improve it personally. Although it was a bit troublesome, he could never let others do it. Hearing this, Kakashi was immediately grateful. Invisibly, a crisis of distrust was easily resolved by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Moreover, it made Kakashi trust him, the strongest Hokage of all generations, more than before. But if Kainai was here, he would definitely sneer at what Sarutobi Hiruzen said. I thought. What have you been doing before? You have to wait until someone brings it up before pretending to improve Naruto's living conditions. You still act like you are so wronged. It's just 1% of the inheritance of the fourth generation couple. Why did Naruto have such a miserable childhood? On the other hand, while Kakashi was talking to the third generation, outside the Konoha village, Kainai had already returned to the top of the mountain, where he learned ninjutsu with Kakashi. He saw lightning surging in his right hand. Sometimes his whole body was covered with lightning. Sometimes lightning gathered in his right hand. It turned into countless thousands of books and shot out, piercing through the rock layer. Sometimes it turned into a lightning chain, binding and cutting everything around. Sometimes it turned into a dog and pounced on the rock, smashing it. Sometimes it turned into Kainai himself. Various forms of changes emerged one after another. Finally, it turned into a sharp spear, piercing and cutting everything. These are exactly the Chidori evolutions developed by Kainai using the perfect lightning attribute chakra nature changes, based on the original Kakashi and Sasuke, Chidori style, Chidori thousand books, Thunder Chain, Thunder Tiger All Kill, Thunder Shadow Clone Chidori Sharp Spear and other series of lightning escape ninjutsu. Soon, the originally rocky mountaintop became devastated. With the perfect lightning attribute chakra nature change, combined with the ninjutsu developed by Kakashi and Najuru in the original work, it is surprisingly simple to sublimate Chidori. It seems that I can try the bloodstain limit and even bloodstain elimination in the future. Looking at the devastated mountaintop, Kainai nodded with satisfaction, and said silently in his heart, System. Open the personal panel. Ding. The Lalita control panel is opening. Host. Fujiwara Chiya. Gender. Male. Age 12 years old. Bloodline limit. Sharingan chakra attributes. Fire, lightning, earth, water, yin, yang chakra amount. 5 cards. In Sage mode, it can reach 60 cards. Secret technique, Shiangangju, has reached the 5th level, with built-in protective ki and flash skills, ninjutsu, fire style, great fireball jutsu, fire style, phoenix fairy fire jutsu, fire style, great dragon fire jutsu, shadow clone jutsu, 3 body jutsu, instant body jutsu. Summoning jutsu, Chidori series of ninjutsu. Earth style, beheading in the heart jutsu, earth style, earth flow wall. Summoning beast, crow special ability, mirror flower and water moon. The enemy only needs to see the first release once, without interfering with the chakra. It can directly act on the soul, control the 5 senses, spiritual power induction, etc. and can also control chakra induction in the Naruto world. Illusion, Katamatsukami, Illusion Sharingan, Magic Tree Binding Kill, Illusion 3 Absolute Sakura Taijutsu. Konoha Basic Taijutsu, Shiangangju's own moves, Uchiha style Shuriken throwing, Kune throwing, chakra attribute nature change, fire, thunder, earth, water warehouse, Zanpakuto mirror flower and water moon, Kune x 225, Shuriken x 311, some clothes, space storage scroll asterisk 5, substitute wooden stakes x 39, Zimu river water. After the technique is promoted to the 5th level, the normal chakra amount has increased to 5 cards, and the Sage mode has also increased from the original 10 times to 12 times. It seems that I will never lack blue again in the future. Kainai whispered in his heart. At this moment, he suddenly sensed a figure rushing towards here at a very fast speed. It was Kakashi. He immediately took out his Zanpakuto and put it on his waist, releasing the mirror flower and water moon, changing the overall appearance of the mountaintop, making it look not too scary and hideous. When Kakashi arrived, he saw only 3 or 4 holes left by ordinary Chidori, and the traces left when he taught Chiya ninjutsu before. I knew you were here. Kakashi looked around and couldn't help but admire. It seems that your chakra is much better than mine. In one day, releasing 4 Chidori is already the limit for me. Including the morning, you released 4 or 5, and you can still do it with ease. It's really enviable. There is gain without loss. If Senior Kakashi hadn't been dragged down by the Sharingan, he would not have stopped here. Kainai smiled and changed the subject. I wonder if Senior came to see me specially. Is there something wrong? Kakashi nodded heavily, his face suddenly serious. Well, Lord Hokage invites you. PS. Second update. Please vote for recommendation and monthly ticket. Chapter 29. The conspiracy begins. The genocide begins. After a while, Hatake Kakashi brought Kainai to the Hokage's office. Hokage-sama. Kainai released Kajika Shuayu, creating a scene of kneeling on one knee. Kakashi said hello and left. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen was puffing out smoke as usual. Seeing Kainai and Kakashi coming, he extinguished his pipe and showed a gentle and kind smile on his face. Kainai, you are here. Get up quickly. No need to be polite. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Kainai responded respectfully and controlled the illusion to stand up. Next, Sarutobi Hiruzen began to ask Kainai about his well-being. He talked about some nonsense. He talked a lot. Although Kainai was very impatient in his heart, he still adhered to the character of worshipping the 3rd generation Hokage and played with this old guy. Finally, after half an hour of chattering and testing, after Sarutobi Hiruzen confirmed that Kainai had become the successor of the Will of Fire in his mind, he finally introduced the topic. Kainai, do you still remember the Ninetales rebellion 6 years ago? Of course I remember. My parents died in that natural disaster. But I was powerless and could only watch them. Kainai used the mirror flower and water moon to show an extremely painful and sad look. At the end, his eyes turned red and he shed tears. Sarutobi Hiruzen saw Kainai's reaction and was secretly proud of himself. He breathed a sigh of relief and said, in fact, this is not a natural disaster, but a man-made disaster. Man-made disaster? Kanai pretended to be terrified and surprised. Yes, in fact, the Ninetales rebellion 6 years ago was maliciously controlled by someone. Looking at the entire ninja world, the only ones who can control the Ninetales, except for the wood escape of the first generation, are the Uchiha clan's Sharingan. As he spoke, Sarutobi Hiruzen narrated the words he had prepared long ago. Hokage-sama, do you mean that this disaster is likely caused by the Uchiha clan? Kanai looked horrified and continued to act. Although there is no conclusive evidence, this possibility cannot be ruled out. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed and said with great sorrow, since the death of the first generation, only the Uchiha clan's main Jiki Sharingan has this ability. Kanai, you are a smart child, so I think you should understand what I mean. I'm willing to give my heart for Hokage and Konoha. Kanai clenched his right fist, pressed it on his chest, and solemnly gave the answer that Sarutobi Hiruzen was expecting. Are you willing to donate your heart for me? Sarutobi Hiruzen repeated, nodded with satisfaction, and said solemnly, Kanye, from today on, I will assign you to the Anbu, and be responsible for monitoring the Uchiha clan. At the same time, I will release this news, and when the Uchiha clan hears about it, they will definitely take the opportunity to win you over. I need you to act as an undercover and report to me every move of the Uchiha clan at all times. When the time is right, in order to gain their trust, with my permission, you can provide some insignificant information. This is a top secret mission I have assigned to you, and I hope you won't disclose this to anyone. Hearing this, Kanye did not agree directly, but looked embarrassed and entangled. Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his eyebrows slightly, and asked gently, what's wrong? Kanai, do you have any concerns? Kanai nodded. Hokage-sama, if the Ninetales rebellion was really caused by the Uchiha clan, I hope that you will punish those initiators. As for other ordinary ninjas and civilians who are not related, I hope you can show mercy. Is it because of that little girl Uchiha Izumi? Sarutobi Hiruzen heard this, his face suddenly relaxed. Not only did he not have any dissatisfaction in his heart, but he became more and more happy. He was worried that there was nothing to check and balance Fujiwara Chiya. After all, Uchiha Itachi has the second pillar. Sarutobi Hiruzen is not worried that Uchiha Itachi dares to betray. But Kanai is different. He has no relatives, which means there are no shackles to shackle him. Now that there is an extra lover, Kanai is easier to control. You like that girl, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen continued. Yes, Lord Hokage. She was also a victim of the Ninetales rebellion. Like me, she lost her parents. Kanai did not deny it. Sarutobi Hiruzen said solemnly, I can promise you here, that no matter whether the Ninetales rebellion is related to the Uchiha clan or not, I will ensure the absolute safety of Uchiha Izumi. At the same time, he added in his heart, of course, if the Uchiha clan does something else that harms the village, it is not my fault. Thank you, Lord Hokage. Kanai secretly despised in his heart, you old man, I have no faith in you. In the original work, I didn't see you guarantee the safety of the second pillar. If it weren't for Uchiha Itachi threatening Danzo, I'm afraid the second pillar would have been gone long ago. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded and clapped his hands. After a while, an Anbu ninja walked in from outside the door, knelt on one knee, and said respectfully, Lord Hokage. From today on, Kanai is a member of the Anbu, you take him to report. Sarutobi Hiruzen said. Yes, Lord Hokage. The Anbu ninja responded respectfully, and left with Kanai. As soon as Kanai left, the other 3 members of Konoha F4 came in. Shimura Danzo said straight to the point, Hiruzen, how is it, did the boy agree? Yes, but he put forward a condition, that is, no matter what happens, Uchiha Izumi must be protected. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned around, and sat back at his desk, lighting his pipe. I knew that the boy would have selfish intentions towards Uchiha, and it is impossible for him to be wholeheartedly for the village. Shimura Danzo said. Although he said so, he did not look angry at all, because the moment Kanai proposed to protect Uchiha Izumi, that meant that he lost the possibility of inheriting the position of Hokage. Or, from the beginning, Sarutobi Hiruzen did not intend to let Kanai inherit the position of Hokage. It was completely overthinking by him. Lord Danzo. Isn't this good? Utane Koharu expressed a different opinion. It is easier to control someone if he has weaknesses. If he is impeccable and can even betray the people he cares about the most, then I would doubt his loyalty. Koharu is right. Mitokado heard this and nodded in agreement. Since then, Konoha's F4 has rarely stood on a united front. On the other side, the Anbu ninja has brought Kainai to the Anbu registration location. This will be your exclusive locker from now on. The Anbu ninja pointed to the locker, then turned his gaze to a window not far away. Your Anbu equipment is also ready. You can go over there to get it later. PS. The third update. Chapter 38 Uchiha's test. Thank you senior. Kainai nodded. Don't call me senior anymore. The Anbu ninja took off his mask, revealing the forehead protector on his face, and his tone became much gentler. Since we are all companions in the future, you can just call me Tenzo. This is a code name that the Hokage got for me. At this point, he looked at the mirror flower and water moon on Kainai's waist. Your sword is good, but it's a bit too ostentatious. As an Anbu, the most important thing is confidentiality. I suggest that you use the standard ninja sword equipped by the Anbu in the future. I understand senior. Kainai nodded. I thought, is this the later would release Ninja Yamato? How many times have I told you not to call me senior? Xianzang smiled dumbly, sighed helplessly, patted Kainai's shoulder, turned and left. Okay, change your clothes here first. I'll introduce other members to you later. After a while, Kainai changed his clothes, chose a smiley mask, and put Jinghua Shuaiu into the system warehouse. When he came out wearing the mask, a group of Anbu ninjas, including Kakashi, Yamato, and Uchiha Itachi, had gathered outside the door waiting. Because Kainai had fought with Kakashi before, he did not suffer from the Anbu's difficulties when he first entered the Anbu like Uchiha Itachi in the original book. Kainai, how is it? Are you adapting? Kakashi came up and took off the dog head mask. Thanks to you, everything went well. Kainai, who put on the mask, seemed to have become a different person and behaved extremely humble in front of Kakashi. Is that so? Kakashi tilted his head to look at the tree trunk not far away, where Uchiha Itachi was squatting on it wearing a firefox mask. Itachi, come here. Yes, Captain Kakashi. Uchiha Itachi came to the two of them in an instant and took off his mask. This is Uchiha Itachi. As former classmates, you two must have known each other, so I won't introduce you too much. Kakashi said. Kainai, only the two of you know about the top secret mission assigned by the Hokage. I won't interfere too much. You can discuss it yourself. In the future, you just need to report to the Anbu on time. Under normal circumstances, I will not assign you additional tasks. Yes, Captain Kakashi. Kainai replied respectfully. Come with me. Uchiha Itachi looked at Kainai expressionlessly, put on the mask again, and disappeared in a flash. Kainai followed closely with a flash of body technique. Not long after, the two came to a high building in Konoha. From here, you can have a good overlooking of the whole ninja school. I didn't expect you to get involved. Uchiha Itachi looked at the second pillar who was listening carefully in the classroom, and said in a deep voice, is it because of Izumi? Kainai leaned against a pillar nearby, folded his arms. You are also the young master of the Uchiha family, the eldest son of the clan leader, and you actually became an undercover sent by the Konoha high level to the Uchiha. It's really ironic. Is it because of the second pillar? I didn't expect you to even know this. Uchiha Itachi turned around, staring at Kainai with a pair of black eyes coldly. Kainai, you are really not as simple as you seem. Same here. Kainai took off his mask, his expression indifferent. Before discussing business with you, I have something I want to confirm. Uchiha Itachi closed his eyes slightly and opened them again. He had turned into 3 Megatama. The two looked at each other, and the illusion Sharingan was activated. Kainai was startled suddenly. His pupils became empty in an instant, but the next second, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and the whole person turned into cherry blossom petals, floating around Uchiha Itachi, gradually wrapping him up. The 3 Megatama in Uchiha Itachi's eyes spun rapidly, and he performed the magic of the mirror world rotation that bounced back the illusion of Yuhi Kyunoi in the original work. But strangely, although the illusion was broken, it did not bounce back to Kainai, who stood there from beginning to end, looking at him with a smile. It was a close call. You are really worthy of the Sharingan. I was almost bounced back by your illusion. Fortunately, you only have 3 Megatama now. If you open the main Gekio, I would be miserable. Kainai looked scared, although he said so, but his tone seemed particularly relaxed, as if he didn't take the main Gekio seriously. Then he added, so, now what you want to confirm, have you confirmed it? I guess so. Uchiha Itachi looked at Kainai deeply again. Then he thought of the mysterious man who took away Shisu's right eye, and he became more and more afraid of Kainai. He turned around and put on the mask again and said seriously, I will tell the Uchiha high-level officials about your promotion to Jonin and joining the Anbu. Because of Izumi, they will extend an olive branch to you on the condition that they will marry Izumi to you. As long as you send Izumi home as usual during this period, someone will find you. Then you can infiltrate the Uchiha. Is it that simple? Kainai suddenly felt a sense of unreality in his heart. This Uchiha is too easy to deceive. Yes, it's that simple. After saying that, Uchiha Itachi flashed and disappeared from Kainai's sight. He is really a guy with an IQ that explodes. Now I guess he has suspected me of the loss of Shisu's right eye. But why is his X so low? A person like this was actually exterminated by Konoha F4, and even civilians who didn't know about the coup were not spared. He is really a pathetic guy. Kainai whispered in his heart, and his figure flashed and disappeared on the spot. Shortly after he left, a huge green pitcher plant emerged from the wall of the building, then slowly opened, revealing a strange half black and half white body. It was actually a combination of black Zetsu and white Zetsu. Who is this guy? He is not afraid of the Sharingan's illusion. He is quite powerful. White Zetsu asked. Itachi did not use the main Jiki Sharingan. If we really compete, the outcome is still unknown, but the chakra that the kid released at the moment of the illusion just now should not be underestimated. It seems that Konoha has a genius again. Black Zetsu answered. His voice was very hoarse, just like the wind blowing the fallen leaves, extremely unpleasant. So what are you going to do? Should we go and inform Obito now? No, inform Madara. White Zetsu continued to ask. No need, just tell Madara later. A Jinjutsu ninja without a Sharingan can't have any impact on our plan. Our most important task now is to find the person who stole Shisu's right eye. After saying that, Black Zetsu controlled the pitcher plant, reintegrated into the wall, and disappeared, as if it had never been there. As the saying goes, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the aureole behind. Not long after Black and White Zetsu left, Kainai walked out from the top of the wall and murmured, it seems that this guy has also accidentally seen my mirror flower and water moon somewhere. Otherwise, with this guy's breath hiding method, I really can't find it. PS. First update. Thanks to a saber-tooth shark for the reward of 100 starting coins. Thanks to bookfriend asterisk 1601 and bookfriend asterisk 9763 for the reward of 500 starting coins. Chapter 31. On the eve of genocide. In the evening, Kainai changed into his regular clothes. He arrived at the ninja school on time to pick up Uchiha Izumi and take him home. Have you been waiting for a long time? This was the first sentence Uchiha Izumi said after seeing Kainai. Although Uchiha Izumi had not fully grown up at this time, she was already very graceful, with black hair down to her waist. Her soft black hair had no accessories, and was very clean. She was wearing a lavender stand-up collar dress, with delicate features, fair skin, and a warm smile on her face that seemed to infect people's hearts. Fortunately, I just got here not long ago. Kainai raised his right hand, and in the envious eyes of many students in the ninja school, Uchiha Izumi naturally handed over the backpack, and the two walked side by side. Time flies so fast, 6 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Uchiha Izumi sighed. Yeah, you're about to graduate, too. Kainai smiled and asked casually, have you thought about what you want to do in the future? Yeah, Uchiha Izumi pondered, and naturally took Kainai's arm, her face slightly red, and said, probably to be a bride. Recalling the scene of her first acquaintance with Kainai in her mind, that night, the natural disaster nine-tailed fox descended, her father died, her mother died, and her heart was full of hesitation and helplessness. In the moment of crisis, it was Kainai who resolutely pulled her out of the alley that could be submerged by the ruins at any time and took her out of the dead. To this day, that childish figure is still vivid in her eyes and lingering. More than 6 years have passed in a flash. Kainai has grown up, and the two gradually come together. Perhaps it's not bad to live like this forever. Kainai was stunned, smiled slightly, and whispered in words that only the two of them could hear, "Then I'll be your bridegroom." Uchiha Izumi was stunned. His cheeks became more and more red, and finally even his neck was stained with a layer of pink. Her pretty face was pressed against Kainai's arm, and everything was self-explanatory. Not long after, Kainai and the other returned to Uchiha Izumi's home. According to Uchiha Itachi's words, as soon as the two entered the house, a ninja from the Uchiha family came to the door. "Itachi-kun?" Uchiha Izumi looked at the visitor in surprise. The other party was none other than Uchiha Itachi himself. Uchiha Itachi nodded expressionlessly and turned his eyes to Kainai. "Kainai, my father wants to see you." "I see." Kainai looked at Uchiha Izumi. "Izumi, I'll be back soon. Then come back early before dinner." Although Uchiha Izumi didn't know why the clan leader wanted to find Kainai, he didn't ask much. Kainai smiled at ease, rubbed Uchiha Izumi's head lightly, and followed Uchiha Itachi out of the house. Next, Kainai followed Uchiha Itachi to his home and met Uchiha Fugaku, the most beautiful wife Uchiha Makoto, and Ursuzi who had just returned home from school. After a lot of discussion, it was finally agreed that Kainai would marry into the Uchiha family. At the same time, in exchange for benefits, Kainai needed to gather intelligence for the Uchiha family. Time passed quickly, and it was the eve of the extermination of the clan. Konoha village in the Land of Fire. At this time, the sun was setting, but the entire Uchiha clan territory in Konoha exuded a strange atmosphere. With the suicide of Uchiha Shisu more than a year ago, the Uchiha clan became more and more dissatisfied with the persecution of the Konoha high-level officials, and it has reached the point where it may break out at any time. A coup is inevitable. At this moment, in a secret meeting in the Hokage building, Shimura Danzo, Mitokado N, Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Utatane Koharu, members of the Konoha F4, sat high in the leadership seats. Below them, it was Uchiha Itachi, dressed as an Anbu ninja, and kneeling on one knee. Uchiha Itachi lowered his head, his face covered by shadows, as if he had made some important decision. He said in a low but respectful voice, 3 days later, the Uchiha clan decided to launch a coup in Konoha on the day of the family festival. Hearing this, Shimura Danzo, Mitokado N, Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Utatane Koharu looked at each other, and a solemn look flashed across their eyes. "The situation is urgent. We must strike first, before they start the rebellion." Shimura Danzo, who has always hated the Uchiha clan, spoke first and said to Sarutobi Hiruzen, "The Uchiha clan was once a comrade in arms. I want to solve the problem through communication, and I don't want to resort to force. I'll find a way." Sarutobi Hiruzen looked extremely distressed and wanted to solve it peacefully, but although he said so, he didn't say a specific plan. Hiruzen. Hearing this, Shimura Danzo wanted to say something, but Sarutobi Hiruzen stopped him with his eyes, as if to say, "Enough, Danzo, I'm the Hokage." Considering that Uchiha Itachi, Utatane Koharu, and Mitokado N were still there, Shimura Danzo couldn't get angry either, so he could only say in his heart, "Hiruzen, you will definitely regret it. Itachi, you go down first." Sarutobi Hiruzen breathed a sigh of relief and said to Uchiha Itachi, "Yes, Hokage." Uchiha Itachi looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen gratefully, put on the Anbu mask, and turned to leave. Looking at the place where Uchiha Itachi disappeared, Utatane Koharu turned his head to look at Sarutobi Hiruzen. "Hiruzen, what are you going to do?" Sarutobi Hiruzen hesitated for a moment and replied, "I don't know yet, but I think there will always be a way." In fact, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't care about the Uchiha family at all. What he really cared about was Konoha and his position as Hokage. On the one hand, if he rashly went to war with the Uchiha clan, even if he won, Konoha would certainly suffer a great loss of vitality. Then, as Uchiha Shisu said before his death, his country would take the opportunity to invade and start the Fourth Ninja World War. On the other hand, as the Hokage, he was loved by all the people of Konoha and had to bask in the sun at all times. If he casually ordered the extermination of a family, then his role as Hokage would be over. Therefore, there must be someone to take the blame. And the target is also obvious, naturally his good friend Danzo. He believed that with the insidious means of his old friend, there were 100 ways to solve the Uchiha clan without going to war. Sure enough, as soon as Sarutobi Hiruzen finished speaking, Shimura Danzo jumped out. That means you have no way now, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed, showing a helpless look, took out his pipe and lit it, and took a deep breath, which was considered as tacit agreement. Seeing this, Uchiha Koharu and Minato Kado knew that they could not count on Sarutobi Hiruzen now, and that this matter was indeed not suitable for him, the Hokage, to step in. So, they looked at Danzo tacitly. Danzo, do you have any solution? Just leave this matter to me. Danzo raised the corner of his mouth slightly, and he had already made up his mind. Since the last incident with Uchiha Shizu, he has not yet obtained a new replacement for his right eye. As a last resort, he took one of the few Sharingan that was moved to the right arm of the first generation cell and used it. Now he is waiting for the Uchiha clan to give him a new Sharingan. PS. Second update. Please recommend and vote for me. Chapter 32. For the sake of the village, Uchiha can only suffer. Sarutobi Hiruzen roughly guessed what Danzo was thinking. Danzo, don't do anything rash. Hearing this, the other two Hokage advisors couldn't help but look at Danzo with worry. They knew very well that Danzo was a person who never considered the consequences of his actions and would do anything to achieve his goals. Facing the gazes of the three people, Danzo smiled cunningly. Don't worry, what you are worried about is nothing more than the war between Konoha and the Uchiha clan, which will lead to a sharp decline in the overall strength of the village. I have my own way to completely eliminate the scourge of the Uchiha clan without losing a single soldier in the village. Hearing the word completely, the two Hokage advisors frowned at the same time, and they were all horrified by Danzo's ruthless means. Then they thought of the Uchiha clan that was about to rebel, and they hardened their hearts again. Koharu Uchiha sighed. If that's the case, then this is the only way. What about Uchiha Izumi who just graduated last year? Minato Kado continued. For the past year, Fujiwara Chiya has been monitoring the Uchiha clan and Uchiha Itachi for us. Although the intelligence provided is not much different from Uchiha Itachi, and Uchiha Itachi did not rebel against the village in the end. Now it seems that sending Chiya over is a bit redundant, but his original condition seemed to be to protect Uchiha Izumi. That's absolutely not possible. According to the intelligence, the little girl has already opened the 3 Magatama Sharingan. What if she opens the Manjaki Sharingan because of the Uchiha rebellion and then uses it to retaliate against Konoha? It is inevitable that she will become another Uchiha Madara, and the consequences will be disastrous. For the sake of the village, we must cut the grass and eradicate it. Danzo flatly rejected it, then called Chiya back. Sarutobi Hiruzen finally spoke, saying this was equivalent to agreeing in disguise. That's not necessary. Danzo's mouth curled up slightly. Ever since Kanai got involved with the Uchiha clan, he has been on the blacklist of the root. He didn't intend to let Kanai live. The same goes for Uchiha Itachi. From the beginning to the end, these people were just his pawns. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and said, Danzo, don't mess around. Kanai is not an Uchiha. He is a pure successor to the Will of Fire. Of course I know that he is a pure successor to the Will of Fire. Danzo said, but have you ever thought that Kanai also knew too much about the truth about the Uchiha during the year he was undercover in the Uchiha? I'm afraid that the Uchiha's upcoming coup can't be hidden from him. Once he learns that Uchiha Izumi is dead, he will inevitably have resentment towards the village and leak the truth. I guess you don't want to see such a thing happen at that time. All this is for the village. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen fell silent again. Indeed, although Kanai loves the village and the strongest Hokage of all time, he also loves Uchiha Izumi. If Kanai had not participated in the Uchiha incident, it would be fine. He could have just found the mission and sent him out of the village. Afterwards, he could have hated the murderer who massacred the Uchiha family. But Kanai knows too much now. A single move can affect the whole body. Once the strongest Hokage of all time breaks his promise, it is inevitable that Kanai will have wild thoughts in the future. by then, not to mention the collapse of faith. Whether he will still love the strongest Hokage of all time is still unknown. Even if he puts the blame on Danzo, who can guarantee that Kainai will not be fooled by Danzo to deal with himself? After all, Kakashi was fooled by Danzo once. Alas. What a pity. If I had known earlier, I would not have let that child participate. He made him Kuno's disciple, because he saw that his youngest son liked Kuno, and he originally wanted Chiya to assist Asuma Sarutobi in the future. Now it seems unlikely. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly hardened his heart, and said in a deep voice, I will no longer ask about Chiya's affairs. But there is one thing, that is, don't stigmatize that child. He is the heir of the will of fire like his parents, and he should be a hero. This is what Konoha owes him. Of course. Ninjas are all self-sacrificing. For the sake of the village, he deserves this honor. Shimura Danzo smiled evilly and agreed. At this moment, he felt more comfortable than ever. Not long after, he will not only be able to harvest a large number of Sharingan, he can also get rid of the Uchiha clan who are born evil. There is really nothing that makes him happier than this. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed helplessly and muttered to himself in a voice that only he could hear, for the sake of the village, I have to suffer for the Uchiha. Kainai, don't blame me, this is all for the village. Uchiha Clanland. A very inconspicuous courtyard somewhere. The space suddenly twisted, and a black shadow suddenly appeared from the different space. An orange-red single-eye mask with black stripes, long black hair similar to Uchiha Madara, a black robe, and a lavender samurai sword on his waist. This is the current appearance and dress of Uchiha Obito. He stood in front of the tree, picked up a piece of gravel thoughtfully, and suddenly, he felt something behind him, put the gravel down casually, twisted the space of his right eye, and instantly disappeared in the yard with the power of God. You are really cautious. Not long after Obito left, a figure wearing a smiley mask and wearing Anbu clothes slowly emerged from the roof, took off the mask, revealing a handsome young face. It was Kainai. This was the nth time he had sensed Obito's presence in the past year. 3 days later, it will be the Uchiha's annual festival. The Uchiha clan will launch a coup on this day, but they will be exterminated by Uchiha Itachi the night before, which is tomorrow night. Originally, he wanted to find Obito to discuss joining the Akatsuki organization, but who knew that this guy's now extremely cautious. He will run away at the slightest sign of trouble. Forget it, there will be plenty of opportunities next time. Thinking of this in his heart, Kainai disappeared in the courtyard in a flash, returning to the Uchiha Izumi residence. Before stepping into the courtyard, Kainai sensed a strange breath that disgusted him. He frowned and appeared in the courtyard in an instant. Come out. As the words fell, the sound of a sharp blade cutting through the air was heard, and 4 sharp kunai shot out from behind Kainai. Kainai swung his body and easily dodged. Then a root ninja dressed in Anbu suddenly appeared in front of Kainai and said arrogantly, Fujiwara Kainai, group. Before the root ninja finished speaking, a sapling suddenly grew out from under the root ninja's feet, and in the blink of an eye it turned into a huge ancient tree several feet high. Tie him up. PS. First update. Please recommend and vote for me. Chapter 33 Danzo's wishful thinking. This is an illusion. When the root ninja was startled. By the time he reacted, his limbs had been embedded in the tree trunk and he could not move. Of course I released it as soon as I stepped into this courtyard. Smash it. Your disguise is too poor. At some point, Kainai had appeared in front of the root ninja. In the latter's stunned eyes, he kicked his lower body with a whip kick. Ah! Screamed the root ninja, and he was in vain. Under the effect of the severe pain, the illusion was automatically lifted. The root ninja covered his lower body with his hands, blood staining the ground red. His body convulsed and rolled on the ground, in excruciating pain. He was no longer a man. Kainai crossed his arms, looked down at him, and asked knowingly, tell me, who sent you to sneak into Konoha, and why did you attack me? I'm Danzo. The root ninja was about to say that it was Danzo who sent Kainai to summon him, but Kainai kicked him again, causing his voice to suddenly turn into a long and sharp scream. Uchiha Izumi, who was inside the house, heard the continuous screams outside and ran out. When he saw Kainai, he breathed a sigh of relief, but then he looked at the root ninja lying on the ground in agony, and asked in confusion, Kainai, what happened? Nothing. I just caught a spy from an enemy country. I'll go and hand him over to Hokage-sama. Kainai blocked Uchiha Izumi's sight and kicked him again. The root ninja twitched a few times, and then he couldn't speak anymore because of the pain. Uchiha Izumi said oh, without any doubt, and reminded, then you come back early, the meal will be ready soon. Okay, I'll be back soon. As he said that, Kainai picked up the root ninja like a chicken and disappeared in the courtyard, rushing straight to the Hokage building. Before leaving, he left a shadow clone in the courtyard to be on the safe side. In a building not far from the Uchiha clan's territory, the Enbu ninjas responsible for monitoring the Uchiha clan saw Kainai's figure through the surveillance, and they were all shocked. Captain Kakashi, there is a situation. Kainai seems to have captured a root ninja. Kakashi's mouth twitched fiercely. You guys continue to keep an eye on it. I'll go over and take a look. Yes, Captain Kakashi. All the Anbu ninjas responded in unison, and suddenly, Kakashi disappeared in the building. Soon, he caught up with Kainai who had just walked out of the Uchiha clan's territory. Kainai, what are you doing? Oh, it's Captain Kakashi. It just so happens that I just caught a spy from the enemy country who attacked me and was about to hand him over to the Hokage. Since you are here, it saves me an extra trip. Kainai casually threw the root ninja in front of Kakashi and talked nonsense seriously. Kakashi looked at the bloody lower body of the root ninja and knew that he was no longer a complete man. He could not help but mourn in his heart and explained, he is not a spy, but a root ninja. A subordinate of Danzo-sama? Is that true? No way. Kainai pretended to be surprised and asked, but why did he attack me for no reason? Without saying a word, he hid my vital parts on the back. I was just a little bit away from being killed. Hearing this, the root ninja, who had already lost everything, secretly groaned in his heart, thinking, I just said hello, pretended to be cool, and gave you a warning. Do you have to be like this? Kakashi had been in the root before, and he knew what kind of people stayed there. After hearing what Kainai said, he quickly sorted out the ins and outs of the matter. You have never met anyone from the root, so you may not know. This is just a basic way of greeting. Even when the Enbu first meets a newcomer, they will test him like this. You are the only exception. I think it is, because Lord Danzo wants to summon you. At this point, Kakashi turned his gaze to the root ninja and asked, is that so? The root ninja nodded weakly. He just lost everything, and didn't even have the strength to speak. Hey, you should have said it earlier. I kept asking him before, but he refused to say anything. Even if Lord Danzo summoned me, he should have said it anyway. See? It's a tragedy. Kainai shrugged slightly, with an innocent look on his face. At this time, Kakashi didn't know what to say. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. You should know where the Shimura clan's territory is. Lord Danzo is there. Go see him first. I'll send him to the medical department and explain to Lord Hokage and Lord Danzo for you later. Thank you, Senior Kakashi, Kainai said, and disappeared from Kakashi's sight. You ran really fast. Kakashi looked at the place where Kainai disappeared, sighed helplessly, stood up and picked up the root ninja, and walked to the medical department. At the same time, the Shimura family mansion. It was getting dark, and the sky was covered with thunder and lightning. Just like the original work, Danzo summoned Uchiha Itachi. Using the second pillar as a threat, he gave him the task of killing all the Uchiha clan members, and leaving only his younger brother. The result was undoubtedly that after a painful struggle, Itachi, who was caught in the vitals, agreed. I'm glad that you can make the right choice for the village. Danzo nodded with satisfaction, but in addition to the Uchiha clan, I need you to kill one more person for the village. Who is it? Uchiha Itachi asked expressionlessly. At this moment, his heart was almost numb, and he only wanted to protect his brother and prevent the outbreak of civil war. But when Danzo handed over the target information, he was still moved. A strong fear flashed across his eyes. Fujiwara Chiya. This was one of the very few men whose depth he could not see clearly. What's wrong? Is there any problem? Danzo's mouth corners slightly raised, and his stiff old face grinned with a playful smile. This person should be the easiest opponent for you to deal with. After all, your Sharingan is used to specifically restrain his illusion. You should know that Chiya knows the truth about Uchiha. Once he leaks it, it will be a huge threat to you and the village. No, there is no problem. Uchiha Itachi shook his head. Although he was very afraid of Chiya's strength, he still chose to take on this mission, based on his confidence in the Mangekyou Sharingan. Well, the action will be scheduled for tomorrow night, the night of the full moon. Next, I will suspend Fujiwara Chiya's mission, to monitor the Uchiha and let him spend the last beautiful night with the little girl Uchiha Izumi. When everything is settled, I hope to see him die as a hero on the road to protecting Konoha. Danzo's eyes flickered, and he added, "This is all for the village." Chapter 34, Leaving a Legacy for the Shimura Family. In fact, Uchiha Itachi is also Danzo's target of annihilation. He will threaten Kainai to annihilate everyone in the residential area, except Uchiha Izumi on the condition that he leaves Uchiha Izumi, including Uchiha Itachi. Afterwards, Uchiha Itachi kills Uchiha Izumi, and Kainai will definitely have a life and death battle with him. In the end, no matter who the winner is, he will send people to eliminate the survivor. Even if Uchiha Itachi is stronger and wins the final victory, he can use Uchiha Sasuke to control Uchiha Itachi. Even cultivate Uchiha Sasuke into a sharp sword at his root. A sharp sword that helps him ascend to the position of Hokage. With this, the Uchiha clan and the truth about the Uchiha clan will completely disappear in the dust of history and no longer exist. And he, Danzo himself, will become the greatest contributor to protecting Konoha. Not only can he remove the cancer of Konoha, Uchiha, but he can also harvest a room full of Sharingan. Why not? This is the most real thought in Danzo's heart at the moment. Just when Danzo was immersed in his beautiful fantasy, a root ninja suddenly appeared behind him and whispered something in his ear. Danzo calmed down his excitement, waved his hand, and after the root ninja left, he said to Uchiha Itachi, "Itachi, if there is nothing else, just leave. Remember, I don't want anyone to see you here." Yes. Leaving this sentence, Uchiha Itachi put on a mask and disappeared in the courtyard. Danzo turned and entered the house. Soon, Kainai came to this small courtyard under the guidance of the previous root ninja. Kainai had already sensed Uchiha Itachi's chakra, but did not expose it. Standing outside the door, he said respectfully, "Danzo, you are looking for me. Come in." Danzo's voice sounded from inside the door. The voice was very calm, without a trace of emotional fluctuations. Creaking, the door opened. Kainai walked in, and saw Danzo sitting on the armchair sipping tea carefully. Seeing Kainai coming, Danzo put down his teacup, and said straight to the point, "Kainai, I believe you already know that the Uchiha clan is about to rebel." "Yes, Danzo, I have reported it to the Hokage. He will solve this problem in a peaceful way." Kainai answered respectfully. He would not believe the nonsense of the third generation. No matter what the result is, he will take Uchiha Izumi away tomorrow night. Seeing this, Danzo instinctively felt a little disgusted, and the wound on his left arm that had long been healed began to ache. In Kainai, he actually saw the figure of Uchiha Shizu in the past. The same naivety, the same damnation. Not a pity to die. This civil war is inevitable. At that time, all members of the Uchiha clan will be charged with treason and executed, including Uchiha Izumi. Danzo said the words he had prepared long ago. "No, it's impossible. Lord Hokage promised me that he would protect Izumi." Jinghua Shuai quietly released. Kainai showed an extremely excited and hesitant mood, but in fact he calmly sat beside Danzo, looking at the latter, as if he was looking at a clown. Seeing Kainai's reaction, Danzo was secretly proud in his heart, and continued to persuade the heir. "Don't think that the third generation said it well, but when it comes to the critical moment, he will still choose the village without hesitation. The village can't accommodate the rebellious Uchiha. Unless..." Hearing this, Kainai was very sensible, and pleaded with Danzo, "Please show me a clear way, Lord Danzo." Danzo raised the corner of his mouth slightly, and picked up the teacup. "It's very simple. The most direct method is the most effective method. As long as the rebellion is nipped in the bud, there is no need to worry that Uchiha Izumi will be affected." "Then what should I do?" Kainai knew that Danzo was treating him as the second Uchiha Teiko. Quickly, she added some water from the Zimu River to the drink, before he drank it. It would take some time for the water from the Zimu River to take effect. After drinking it, Danzo did not notice anything wrong and continued, "Now there are two choices in front of you. Either stand on the side of Uchiha and accompany your lover to perish, or leave only your lover and assist the village to kill all the Uchiha people. Nip the rebellion in the bud. Of course, in this case, you will become a traitor. You can't stay in the village anymore. But at the same time, you have also protected Konoha. You saved your lover's life. Ninjas need to sacrifice themselves. If the Uchiha clan is allowed to rebel, the village will fall into civil strife, and other countries will take the opportunity to invade Konoha. The harm it brings will be 100 times greater than the Ninetales rebellion. Kainai, as a spy of Konoha and Uchiha, no one is more suitable for this task than you. Are you willing to accept this task? Get rid of the scourge of Uchiha for the village. I'm afraid the biggest scourge is you. Kainai secretly complained in his heart, controlling the illusion of Jinghua Shuayu to reveal an extremely confused and hesitant expression. He lowered his head, his eyes were covered by shadows, revealing a look that was persuaded by Danzo, and was about to turn evil. Danzo, if I kill all the Uchiha clan members, can I protect the village and protect Izumi? Yes. Danzo gave an affirmative answer. He was secretly proud in his heart. It seemed that the darkness in Fujiwara Chiya's heart had been let out by the old man. Does the Hokage know about this? Chiya continued to ask. The third generation doesn't need to know. He has entrusted this matter to me. Danzo began to take the blame as usual. At the critical moment, Danzo still loved the third generation very much. You are the wind and I'm the sand. You are the leaves bathed in the sun, and I'm the root that protects Konoha. I will bear all the darkness. For the village, for Izumi, I'm willing to take this task, but with my personal strength, I'm afraid it is not enough to destroy the entire Uchiha. Chiya stood up and put on the mask again. Originally, he just wanted to take Uchiha Izumi away from Konoha, and did not intend to participate in the struggle between Konoha and Uchiha. But now this fox has already set his sights on him, and the third Hokage has also acquiesced. He is not Uchiha Shizu, and he has no so-called sense of belonging to Konoha. Since Danzo and the third Hokage have set their sights on him, and regard him as a chess piece that can be sacrificed at will, there is no need to be polite to them. These two old bastards always talk about exterminating the clan, so in that case, I, Fuji, will exterminate the Shimura clan and the Sarutobi clan, and let them also have a taste of genocide. As for the water of the Zimu River, it will be regarded as a little incense for the Shimura clan. Of course, the Sarutobi clan will also make preparations. After all, they cannot favor one over the other. You don't need to worry about the security forces. Someone will take care of it. Danzo said, you only need to be responsible for eliminating the people in the Uchiha residential area and commercial street with Uchiha Itachi. He also accepted this task on the condition that he would protect his younger brother. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 Preparation for Defection. Meeting with Obito. It was already late at night when they returned to Uchiha Izumi's house. Uchiha Izumi, who was drowsy, took off Kainai's and Bu clothes and heated up the food for him. Izumi, how are the Binglian pills I asked you to prepare? Kainai picked up the bowl and chopsticks and took a mouthful of rice. It's ready, enough for several months. Uchiha Izumi stood up and took out the Binglian pills that had been prepared long ago from the cabinet. Kainai put the Binglian pills into the system warehouse, closed his eyes, released his perception, and after confirming that there were no undue surveillance around, he said seriously, Izumi, I believe you have also sensed the abnormality in the Uchiha family in recent days. Uchiha Izumi nodded. Although he did not participate in the coup of the Uchiha clan, the abnormal atmosphere in the clan was so weird that it was hard not to notice it. Kainai continued, the day after tomorrow, the Uchiha clan will launch a coup. The Konoha high-level officials have already noticed this. Danzo gave me a task, to kill all the Uchiha clan members tomorrow night. The third generation also acquiesced. How could this happen? Uchiha Izumi's eyes were empty in an instant, and he covered his red lips in horror, with disbelief on his face. Don't worry, I won't do that. Kainai gently stroked Uchiha Izumi's forehead. I will take you away from Konoha tomorrow. But if you do that, you will become a traitor. And if you take me with you. Uchiha Izumi's eyes turned red, and tears could no longer be stopped from sliding down from the corners of his eyes. Don't worry, I'm very strong. Go to bed early tonight, and when you wake up, everything will be settled. Kainai comforted. The next day, just after dawn, Kainai acupunctured Uchiha Izumi, who had not yet awakened, and put him into a coma, and put him in the system warehouse. Ding, it is detected that the system warehouse has a special bloodline and Sharingan. Does the host want to extract it? Extract your sister. Kainai cursed angrily, set up the mirror flower and water moon, summoned a crow, turned into the appearance of Quan, and walked out of the courtyard. He was not in a hurry to find Obito. Instead, he walked to the street. He simply bought some daily necessities, and secretly looked at Yuhi Kyonai, who was guiding Alien Pansy to practice, the little Hinata who was working hard to practice the soft fist, and Naruto who was chasing after the second pillar and jealous of him. Finally, on a high platform near the Ninja Academy, he met Uchiha Itachi, who was also looking at the second pillar. Aren't you going to say goodbye to the second pillar? After tonight, you two brothers will turn against each other. Kainai appeared on the roof behind Itachi, the highest point of the building. Itachi glanced at Kainai, without any emotional fluctuations in his eyes. Then he thought that the other party and Uchiha-Kwan were also his targets, and that the other party knew that Sasuke was his weakness, and would slaughter Uchiha with him tonight, and his expression suddenly became cold. The look he gave Kainai was as if he was looking at a dead person. Meet at the entrance of the Uchiha clan at 7 o'clock tonight. Don't be late. After leaving these words, Uchiha Itachi disappeared from Kainai's sight. Although he knew that this was Danzo's conspiracy, either use his hand to get rid of Kainai, or use Kainai's hand to get rid of him. But if he doesn't kill Kainai, once the other party knows that Uchiha Izumi died in his hands, they will definitely think of ways to target Sasuke. He will never leave any harm to Sasuke. So Kainai must die. Kainai raised the corner of his mouth slightly, released the mirror flower and water moon, and then followed. He knew that, after leaving Danzo's residence last night, the other party found Obito. Now he is going to meet with Obito to confirm the extermination of the clan tonight. Kainai searched for Uchiha Itachi's chakra, followed all the way, and came to the forest behind the Uchiha clan. We will take action tonight. I will wipe out all the people in the Uchiha residential area with Fujiwara Chiya. I will leave the Konoha security department to you. Uchiha Itachi said to Obito. Okay, as agreed, I will lend you a helping hand. Obito crossed his arms and said calmly, but Fujiwara Chiya is not a simple guy. He, like you, also noticed my existence, but he didn't report it to the Konoha high-level officials. You'd better be careful. I see. Then, do as agreed. Uchiha Itachi was startled, frowned, and replied suddenly. He turned around and was about to leave when he heard Uchiha Obito say, the reason why I helped you wipe out the Uchiha is not only for revenge, but also for other purposes. You should just pretend that you didn't see them. You want me not to use the Sharingan to record your actions? Uchiha Itachi turned around. Yes. This is also a proof to let your brother live. I don't need a child without Sharingan. Obito said lightly. You can rest assured about this. Uchiha Itachi turned around and turned his back to Obito. At this point, I have no choice but to trust you. If you have nowhere else to go, you can choose to join my organization. Uchiha Obito invited Itachi. Your organization? Uchiha Itachi's eyes flashed with surprise. The name is Akatsuki. Obito replied. I know. Uchiha Itachi nodded slightly and disappeared into the jungle. Looking at Itachi's disappearing back, Kainai, who was hiding in the dark, deliberately revealed a flaw and stepped on a branch and broke it. Obito was startled when he heard the noise and tilted his head to look at a big tree dozens of meters away. Who are you? Get out of here, you rat. Kainai slowly walked out from behind the big tree and said in an extremely exaggerated tone, have you been discovered? You are really worthy of being the legendary Uchiha Madara. You can find me and hide from Itachi's main Gekyo in sight and follow me all the way here. I have to say that you are really capable. Obito crossed his arms, as if he was a superior, and looked down on others. He didn't seem to be in a hurry to take action. Tell me, what is your purpose? It's very simple. I'm very interested in the Akatsuki organization you mentioned. Kanai said indifferently. Why? Obito narrowed his eyes slightly, and his words were full of disdain. Even the main Gekyo has not been opened. Anyone who is qualified to join Akatsuki is an S-level rebel ninja who is famous in the ninja world. Among them, either has a blood limit, or has special abilities, or has been famous in the ninja world for many years. They are so powerful that almost every one of them is as good as the cage. Even Uchiha Itachi was allowed to join by Obito because of his main Jiki Sharingan. What does Kanai have? Just those few illusions of the Yuhi Red sect that are not up to standard? Just try and you will know. Kanai still had a smile on his face, and he drew out the sword Kyoka Sujetsu from his waist and whispered in a voice that only he could hear. Shatter it. Kyoka Sujetsu. Since you are looking for death, then I will fulfill your wish. Anyway, you will die sooner or later, and killing you now will not affect my plan. Boy, today I will let you see the true eye power of the Uchiha clan. Obito's right eye under the mask was slightly closed, and when he opened it again, it had turned blood red, revealing a 3 Magatama Sharingan. A powerful chakra airflow suddenly burst out and covered Kanai. Chapter 36 Kanai's Revenge. Extermination of the clan. Reset. Then come on. Kanai smiled, and the Sharinganju quietly operated. Suddenly, a chakra that was many times stronger than Obito's burst out. It instantly blew away Obito's chakra flow that had suppressed the 4th Mizukachi Yagura, and in turn suppressed him tightly. This chakra Obito was suddenly stunned, and lost his voice in horror, and then the face under the mask quickly returned to normal. Because in front of Kamu, even if your chakra reaches the level of the tailed beast, it is futile. The next moment, Obito drew the sword at his waist and instantly appeared in front of Kanai. Kanai swung the sword to slash, but Obito easily dodged it with his hollow transformation. Taking advantage of this gap, Obito stabbed straight with his long sword and instantly pierced Kanai's chest. "Huh, that's all," Obito said disdainfully. At this moment, Kanai's words with a slight smile sounded like a ghost in Obito's ears. Really? Then, Obito felt a chill in his waist. His upper body flew out, and he saw his lower body. Kanai, who had been killed, stood behind his lower body at some point. Am I going to die? Feeling his gradually blurred consciousness, he saw Nohara in at the moment of life and death. With his strong willpower, that was enough to suppress the 10 tails. He released the Uchiha clan's ultimate eye technique, Eyes Energy. He instantly reversed his fate of death. P.S. Here is an explanation. Zanpakuto is a sword that cuts the flesh and the heart. The protagonist did not want to kill Obito, so Obito can use Eyes Energy to revive. He set his resurrection location behind Kanai and cut it with one knife. However, Kanai had expected this move of his. Just a flash of his figure, a powerful flash skill burst out, combined with the instant body technique, and came to Obito in an incredible speed, and cut it with one knife. So fast. Obito was shocked, and hurriedly activated the ability of his right eye to dodge Kanai's blade, and immediately drew out the sword at his waist, launched a counterattack, and cut Kanai's back. But before the sword fell completely, Kanai suddenly disappeared from his sight, as if he had teleported through space. When he reappeared, he was already beside him, and cut him in half with a sword. Everything happened in a flash. As soon as Obito materialized and launched an attack, he had no time to dodge with his hollow form. He was once again killed by Kanai. Fortunately, his Eyes Energy time had not passed, otherwise he would have been in trouble. You can hollow yourself to avoid enemy attacks, but you will materialize when attacking. Is this the pupil technique of your right eye's main Gekyo? It's really an advanced space-time ninjutsu. I just don't know which one is stronger than Uchiha Shizuka Matsukami. Kanai ignored Obito's corpse and looked sideways behind him. Mr. Madara, do you think my strength is good enough? Obito's figure slowly emerged in his sight. This bastard. After being killed twice in a row, Obito couldn't help cursing in his heart, and then he seemed to think of something and suddenly laughed. Haha. So that's it. Little brat. Oh no, Kanai, I have to say that everyone underestimated you. This huge chakra, this level of instant body, and the illusion that even the main Gekio can't penetrate. I guess the mysterious person who cut off Danzo's arm and took away Shisu's right eye must be you. At this point, Obito looked at Kainai again, and he became more and more fearful. He knew that Danzo couldn't reattach his arm after it was cut off. According to Black Zetsu, it's better to say that Danzo's left arm was cut off than to say that his left arm was cut off. That kind of soul level trauma cannot be restored. Coupled with Shisu's right eye, the guy in front of him already has the ability to threaten his life. This is a more difficult guy than Uchiha Itachi. Once Kainai reveals Shisu's right eye or launches an attack, he will run away immediately. Never entangle. On the contrary, if the other party is determined to join the Akatsuki organization, then it will be an extremely powerful chess piece for the Moon Eye plan. But before that, it is necessary to test it. In case the other party is a spy sent by Sarutobi Hiruzen, it will not be worth the loss. That's me. Kainai admitted frankly, I wonder if I'm qualified to join the Akatsuki organization that Mr. Madara mentioned now? Of course. Obito said in a deep voice, but I have two questions to ask you. First, what is your purpose in joining the Akatsuki organization? Kainai smiled faintly and said, to save my lover's life. After all, this time the old dog Danzo has issued a death order. If Izumi continues to stay in Konoha, even if he escapes, there will be a next time. I can't take Izumi away from Konoha and run around, hiding from XZ. I need a safe enough place. After Itachi wiped out the Uchiha clan, he will inevitably become an S-level rebel. Since the Akatsuki organization you mentioned can even take in S-level rebels, it can't be that it can't protect a little girl. Obito nodded, agreeing with Kainai's words, and continued to ask, why should I believe you? Itachi joined the Akatsuki organization because he had the token of exterminating the Uchiha clan, and it is impossible for him to return to Konoha. What about you? What if you just want to steal the information of the Akatsuki organization? I don't think you will really kill your girlfriend's family. Of course, I'm not so crazy as to do such a thankless task as exterminating the Uchiha clan. Kainai showed a dangerous smile on his face. Then how can you let me trust you? Obito asked with a frown. Kainai said, I have no interest in destroying the Uchiha clan, but I'm happy to serve you in destroying the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan. I guess you want to destroy the Uchiha clan not only for revenge, but also to collect the Sharingan and weaken Konoha's power. Tonight, while Konoha is focusing on the Uchiha clan, I will destroy the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan. Are you satisfied with this token of allegiance? After hearing this, Obito was obviously stunned. Even with his calmness, he was shocked by Kainai's train of thought. Eliminate the family of the third Hokage and the family of Danzo? That's really crazy. You are going to offend Konoha completely. Obito asked, but the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan are different from the Uchiha clan. They are in the center of Konoha. If you act rashly, it will probably alarm a large number of Konoha ninjas. Is there anything I can do? Since Danzo and the third Hokage can decide the life and death of a family at will, they should also be prepared for the extermination of their own family. Of course, I'm not a devil, and I will still leave descendants for them. Kainai smiled and said, I need an expert who is good at setting up barriers to block the perception of the outside world. Otherwise a large number of Konoha ninjas will be alarmed, and some will slip through the net, which will not be considered perfect. To exterminate a clan, of course, we have to make their family whole. That's no problem. The corners of Obito's mouth twitched fiercely under the mask. He found that this was a guy who was even more sinister than him. Jew, come out. As soon as the words fell, a huge pitcher plant slowly emerged from the tree, and then slowly opened, revealing a half-black and half-white gloomy face. Obito introduced, this is Zetsu, also a member of our Akatsuki organization. He is mainly responsible for collecting intelligence, and is also very good at setting up barriers. However, he has no combat power. It is up to you to decide how to wipe out the Shimura clan and the Sarutobi clan. After the matter is over, he will guide you to meet me. As for the little girl Uchiha Izumi, I can send her out of the village in advance. How about it? Do you need my help? That's not necessary. I will take good care of Izumi. Kainai shook his head. He was not at ease. to hand Uchiha Izumi over to outsiders. PS. Today is still updated at midnight. Starting from tomorrow, the 27th, it will be updated at 8 PM. Chapter 37 3 Generations of Hypocrisy. Then it's settled. Uchiha Obito turned his head to Zetsu and said, Zetsu, I'll leave the arrangement of the barrier to you. I know. Hearing this, Zetsu slowly merged into the tree and disappeared. Looking at the place where Zetsu disappeared, Kanai used the mirror flower and water moon to sense it, and found that Zetsu was still hiding in the giant tree. He sneered in his heart and added, and the traitor Uchiha Itachi will be left to you. After all, he is a future teammate. I don't think you want him to die in my hands now. When it's night, I will fake my death in his hands. Before everything is settled, I hope you can keep it secret. After saying that, Kanai's figure flashed and disappeared from Obito's sight. Not far away, he quietly returned and released the mirror flower and water moon, isolating Obito and Zetsu's perception. Looking at the place where Kanai disappeared, until the Sharingan could no longer perceive Kanai's chakra, Obito spoke, how is it, Zetsu, is that guy gone? I can no longer sense Kanai's chakra. Black Zetsu responded. Hearing this, Obito couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, but he was still afraid. In the final analysis, he believed too blindly in the power of Kamu. He was too careless. In just one round, Kanai had seen through the ability of his right eye to become a virtual object, and that illusion, that was so realistic, it almost cost him his life. If the other party had intended to kill him just now, without knowing Kanai's information, he might have really fallen into this trap. Madara, what are you going to do? Do you really want to absorb Kanai into the Akatsuki organization? I always feel that he is a very dangerous existence. Instantaneous body is secondary, and that level of illusion is beyond our previous cognition. White Zetsu asked Obito. Hearing Madara's name, Obito immediately returned to his usual indifference. Why not? At least for now, his interests are consistent with ours. What's more, no matter how powerful Kanai is, he will eventually appear pale and powerless in front of the samurai. That's true. White Zetsu did not refute. Black Zetsu, do you have any idea about the technique that Chiya just used? That terrifying instant body movement is something that even the 4th Raikage and the 4th Hokage might not be able to achieve. The current Obito does not have the experience that he had when he appeared in the original work. Black Zetsu thought for a moment and said, it looks a bit like Sage Mode. But it is different from the Sage Modes of the 3 holy places of Myaboki Mountain, Ryochi Cave, and Wetbone Forest. Not only has the appearance not changed, but it does not seem to be like the ordinary Sage Mode, which absorbs the natural energy around into the body, and combines it with the body's own physical energy and spiritual energy to balance the power. It is somewhat similar to Orochimaru's Curse Seal, but it is more advanced than the Curse Seal. It seems to be released directly from the body, causing his chakra to soar to an extremely terrifying level. Of course, his basic chakra volume is also extremely terrifying, at least reaching the level of ordinary Uzumaki clan members. He is really a powerful guy who can control such terrifying chakra. Senjutsu. Obito repeated, frowning slightly. It seems that this guy has a lot of secrets. Take advantage of the battle tonight. You should observe him more. I need detailed information about him. This guy's too dangerous. I know. Black Zetsu responded respectfully, and the pitcher plant slowly merged into the giant tree. Kanai was standing next to Obito and Zetsu. Having released Kyokusu Jetsu, he did not need to worry about being discovered by the two. Seeing that the two had kept their promise, he was no longer suspicious, and turned around and slowly disappeared into the darkness. On the other side, Uchiha Itachi had already changed into the Anbu uniform, and came to the Hokage building. It was already sunset time. Not only the Uchiha clan, but the entire Konoha was emitting a strange atmosphere. Just this morning, the Anbu that originally monitored the Uchiha clan were all evacuated from their posts, and gathered at the Anbu base. They entered a state of first level alert, and waited for the order of the Hokage. At this moment, on the rooftop of the Konoha Hokage building, Sarutobi Hiruzen put his hands behind his back. Behind him was Uchiha Itachi, dressed as an Anbu ninja, and kneeling on one knee. Have you made up your mind, Itachi? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked with his back to Uchiha Itachi. Itachi lowered his head, his tone exuding unprecedented determination. Yes, Hokage-sama. From tonight on, he will shoulder the sin of slaughtering the clan, and the price is to save his brother Sasuke. This is my fault. I didn't expect that things would come to this point today. I originally wanted to solve it in a peaceful way. I didn't want to resort to force. Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled a breath, and then said, "You can rest assured about Sasuke. As long as I'm still alive, I will not let him get hurt. Thank you very much." Hearing this, Uchiha Itachi was deeply moved. After leaving this sentence, Itachi put on the mask of the Anbu and disappeared on the top floor of the Hokage building. And not long after Itachi left, Sarutobi Hiruzen gently raised his hand. Suddenly, two Anbu appeared behind him, kneeling on one knee. The identities of these two people are not ordinary. Their real identities are Sarutobi Hiruzen's eldest son and daughter-in-law, that is, Konohamaru's parents. Go and get ready. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was no longer as gentle as before, and was instantly covered by a shadow. He said in a deep voice, "The annihilation of the Uchiha clan was Konoha's top secret. Even Kakashi and other Anbu members who were directly under the Hokage were not qualified to participate. They were gathered at the Anbu base and were on standby. Only Sarutobi Hiruzen's confidants knew about it. Father, should we take action?" As Sarutobi Hiruzen's eldest son, Sarutobi Shinosuke, who was wearing a patterned mask, asked. Sarutobi Hiruzen hesitated for only a second and said, "If Itachi and Chiya are too late." He didn't say it clearly, but it was self-evident. Although he didn't think Itachi would show mercy, the Uchiha clan was a huge family after all. If they were discovered, someone would escape, which was also possible. In addition, if Chiya learned that Uchiha Izumi was dead, she would definitely go berserk. If Uchiha Itachi destroyed the clan and couldn't take Chiya, the two elite ninjas of the route arranged by Danzo would take action. If they couldn't take it, at that time, Sarutobi Hiruzen's men would need to take action. This is the last insurance. Even Danzo didn't know about this. What if Uchiha Itachi didn't kill Chiya? Sarutobi Shinosuke asked. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't answer, but closed his eyes and turned to go into the house. I know. Sarutobi Shinosuke understood his father's intention, and after responding, the two disappeared. At the same time, in the Shimura clanland, after tonight, the second generation's long cherished wish to destroy the Uchiha will finally be fulfilled in my hands. Danzo stood on the stone steps with a cane, looking forward to it. Below him were hundreds of Root Elites. PS. The first update. Please recommend and vote for the monthly ticket. I originally wanted to update twice, but seeing that Quasar rewarded 5k starting coins, I will update 3 times today. Chapter 38. Danzo becomes a father. Shimura's clan is exterminated. Danzo did not choose to let the Shimura clan members participate. After all, he was not Sarutobi Hiruzen. In order to maintain the image of Hokage, he needed to be bathed in the sun all the time, and could not use the power of the Anbu directly under him. Danzo did not need to worry about so much. He did not need the love of his subordinates. He only needed the seal of eradicating the tongue to guarantee the loyalty of his subordinates. Just when Danzo was feeling proud, he suddenly felt a dull pain in his abdomen and a feeling of nausea and vomiting suddenly came over him. He hurriedly covered his abdomen and his crutches fell out of his hand. Danzo, what's wrong with you? Danzo's capable subordinates Aburame Tone and Yamanaka Refu saw this and instantly appeared on his left and right to support him. I'm fine. I probably caught a cold last night. Danzo waved his hand, cold sweat dripping down his forehead. He resisted the discomfort of his body and gave orders to the Root people. Let's go. With Danzo's order, hundreds of Root ninjas instantly disappeared in the courtyard and rushed to the Anbu base. Danzo followed closely behind, supported by 2 of his subordinates. Tonight is the day when Danzo inherits the will of the second generation and wipes out the Uchiha clan. We must not let years of hard work go to waste because of a trivial stomachash. Not long after they left, Kyuubi appeared on the high platform of the building near the Shimura clan. Kyuubi, I have already arranged the barrier. All members of the Shimura clan are here except Danzo. Do you want to start now? A huge pitcher plant emerged from the building next to Kyuubi, revealing the figures of the 2 unique black and white. Of course, after all, I have to hurry. Kainai closed his eyes, sensed carefully, and murmured, 78 people. This Shimura clan is really a family with a lot of talent. It seems that Danzo has put all his experience on the roots. As he spoke, Kainai put on the mask of the Anbu, disappeared on the high platform, and appeared again at the door of the Shimura clan's mansion. Who are you? What are you doing here? Guarding the entrance of the mansion were two strong men from the Shimura clan. Due to the secrecy of the Anbu and the fact that they never used the main entrance, they did not know Kainai. Kainai suddenly appeared in front of them, full of murderous intent, and immediately raised the iron rod in his hand to block Kainai. Kill your people. Kainai did not say much nonsense, and drew out the Zanpakuto at his waist. Under the effect of the flash skill of Shiangangju, every step he took would teleport several feet away. In the blink of an eye, he passed through the position of the Shimura clan members, and entered the mansion. Looking at the Shimura clan members again, they had already fallen in a pool of blood. What followed was a brutal and one-sided massacre. This instant body is no less than the 4th generation Reikage. No wonder it can break a Bito's hollow. The two black and white Zetsu still stayed on the high platform of the building, overlooking everything below. Seeing Kainai's ghost-like figure rushing fast, the white Zetsu could not help but exclaimed. Black Zetsu took over the topic. His voice was very hoarse. No, it's not just that. When we dealt with the Bito before, it was much faster than this. If a Bito didn't have I's energy, he would have been dead. Okay, let's stop chatting. The Shimura clan is dying out, and they can't find out anything. Chiya can solve it in 1 or 2 minutes. This is the central area of Konoha. Although the Shimura clan is rarely visited by people, once someone passes by, they will be exposed. Now seize the time to collect the 2 bodies at the door. Then rush to the Sarutobi clan to watch the battle. Since the 3rd Hokage took office, although the Sarutobi clan is not well known, it has been growing in secret. Its scale is no less than that of the Uchiha clan, and there are no fewer mid and top level ninjas. We should be able to see something there. Hearing this, White Zetsu immediately became interested. I'm really looking forward to it. As he spoke, the huge pitcher plant shrank, merged into the rooftop, and disappeared. The Sarutobi clan's territory was not too far from the Shimura clan. After dealing with the Shimura clan, Kainai quickly came to the highest point of the Sarutobi clan's building. With his eyes closed, Kainai sensed as usual and found that, including Sarutobi Konohamaru, the population of the Sarutobi clan had reached a terrifying 2,000 people. Among them, there were more than 30 people with Jonin level chakra. There were 700 to 800 Chunins. There were countless Genins. This strength, excluding high-end combat power, has surpassed the Uchiha, the first wealthy family in Konoha. Fuck, although I know that most of the Konoha big families will stay in the clan for training, the old man of the 3rd generation is too quiet to make a fortune. No wonder he was able to let the Sarutobi clan form a whole army in the 4th war. Kainai whispered in his heart. At this moment, Ju, who had already done the aftermath work on the Shimura clan side, appeared beside Kainai. Kainai, the Shimura clan has been dealt with. Unless Danzo returns, no one will find out in a short time. What are you going to do with the Sarutobi clan? They have a large number of people. Apart from the 3rd Hokage, I can't guarantee that all the members are present. It will be difficult for you to kill them all by yourself. Black Zetsu said in a hoarse voice. Who said I want to kill them all? Kainai made a symbolic seal with both hands. With a bang, the smoke dissipated, and 25 shadow clones were instantly created. I left incense for Danzo, so the 3rd Hokage can't be partial to one over the other. And I have more than one person. As he spoke, 26 figures, including his original body, suddenly disappeared from the roof, and rushed to the various courtyards of the Sarutobi clan. This was the result of his careful consideration. This time, the main thing was to fight quickly and not make too much noise. If too many clones were created, the target would be too big. 25 is no more, no less. Each person can easily deal with 70 or 80 people. The battle can be quickly resolved in less than an incense stick of time. As for the incense, left for the 3rd generation, it is naturally Konohamaru. He plans to leave a castrated Konohamaru for the 3rd generation Hokage. Asuma said, according to the scenes given in the original book, He should be in the meatball shop with Kyuubi Yuhi, Genma Shiranu, and my guy. After the genocide is completed, the kid will probably be back soon. The third generation has no time to feed the water of the mother and child river. Just feed it to his youngest son. Even if it is to leave incense for his Sarutobi family, so that Sarutobi Mirai can be born smoothly. Although it is 8 or 9 years earlier. But it doesn't matter, at least the gender is preserved. After all, those who drink the water of the mother and child river will be pregnant with a girl. Looking at the more than 20 kunai below constantly shuttling back and forth among the Sarutobi clan, White Zetsu couldn't help but exclaimed, "What a terrifying amount of chakra." After dividing the chakra into 26 equal parts, the amount of chakra of the main body can still be so terrifying. Of course, the reason why the immortal technique is called immortal technique is that it can increase the chakra of the chakra user by several times or even dozens of times. The amount of chakra of Kainai's main body is terrifying. In his immortal technique state, splitting into more than 20 shadow clones does not have much impact on his own strength. Black Zetsu continued. PS. Second update. Chapter 39. Sarutobi's extermination. That's true, but then again, are there any survivors in the Shimura family besides Danzo? White Zetsu couldn't help asking. I've confirmed that there is no one left in the clan. Black Zetsu replied. Then why did Kainai say that he left incense for Danzo? Hey, Kainai's shadow clone over there seems to have met an opponent. White Zetsu exclaimed, and saw Kainai surrounded by nearly several jonins, 7 or 8 special jonins, and dozens of chunins in a house of the Sarutobi clan. Kainai, what on earth do you want to do? Why do you want to kill my Sarutobi clan? Hearing the screams of the clan members in the surrounding courtyards, the leading Sarutobi clan jonin questioned Kainai with a gloomy face. Others don't know Kainai, but as the direct relatives of the Hokage, they will not make a mistake. They have been solving problems for Sarutobi Hiruzen for many years, and they have done no less dirty work than the root organization. Otherwise, the Sarutobi clan would not have been able to grow from a small family to a comparable existence to the Uchiha clan in just a few decades. You can ask the third generation about this later, when you go to the underworld. Kainai raised his right hand, accompanied by a sound of birds chirping, and lightning surged in his palm, instantly turning into a sharp spear that was tens of meters long, piercing the throat of the Sarutobi jonin. The Sarutobi jonin didn't even have time to scream before he lost consciousness, his pupils lost vitality, and he was deader than dead. Kill him quickly. The other Sarutobi clan members were frightened by Kainai's move, and rushed to Kainai in a hurry. Kainai waved the Chidori sharp spear, sweeping across the army, and the 7 or 8 Sarutobi clan jonins and special jonins who rushed over first were instantly split in two, and fell in a pool of blood. Ah, run away, this is a demon. Hurry up and inform the Hokage-sama. The remaining Sarutobi clan special jonins and chunins saw this scene, and were so shocked that they couldn't speak clearly. They wished their parents had more legs, so they turned around and ran. Kainai would not let them go. The Chidori in his palm changed its form, and turned into countless Chidori, which shot towards the Sarutobi clan. In a moment, the high-end combat power of the Sarutobi clan was completely destroyed. What is that? Lightning release. So powerful. White Zetsu exclaimed. As a war correspondent, Black Zetsu took on the job of commentary as always. That is Chidori, the lightning release ninjutsu created by Kakashi. It seems that Kainai not only learned it, but also changed its form based on Chidori. It has both medium and long range attacks and group attacks. He can release such a great lightning release ninjutsu, just by relying on his shadow clone. He is really a powerful guy. The killing continued. At the same time, Konoha's 3-color meatball shop. What's going on with this damn weather? It's almost 7 o'clock. It should have been dark at this time. It's really depressing. Sarutobi Izumi glanced at the clock hanging in the meatball shop, his eyes looking at the sky that had been dyed dark red by the sunset, and a faint feeling of uneasiness arose in his heart, and he couldn't help but complain. It's really weird. Kyuubi also felt uneasy in her heart, and she stroked her chest with her jade hand and continued. It has been nearly a year since Kainai confessed to her and said those inexplicable words. During this period, the two have never spoken a word to each other, let alone met. If she hadn't met Kakashi by chance and asked him about Kainai's safety, Kyunui would have thought that something had happened to Kainai. Compared to Kyunui and Asuma Sarutobi's uneasiness, the thick-skinned Might Guy didn't think so much and kept shouting youth, which made Shiranagenma's ears calloused. What kind of mission did that bad guy take? It's so mysterious. Thinking so in her heart, Kyunui was in no mood to continue listening to Might Guy's chatter. He stood up and said, "That's it for today. We've almost finished eating the meatballs. It's time to go home." How about I? Asuma Sarutobi offered to send Kyunui home, but Kyunui waved her hand directly. "No need, I can go back alone. I'm not a child anymore. If I ask you to send me back, what will others, Kainai, think?" After that, Kyunui performed the instant body technique and disappeared in the meatball shop. Asuma Sarutobi sighed helplessly, knowing that his plan to pursue Kyunui today had failed again. He said hello to Might Guy and Shiranagenma and returned home in a daze. As soon as he entered the house, Asuma Sarutobi smelled an extremely strong bloody smell. The entire huge Sarutobi family was terrifyingly quiet. It was like a ghost town. What on earth is going on? Asuma Sarutobi had a drop of cold sweat on his forehead, quickened his pace, and rushed to the inner house. Before he had gone far, he saw corpses all over the ground. These are all his people. He held his head with both hands, screamed ah, staggered, and fell to the ground in fear, looking at everything in front of him in horror. Dead. All his people are dead. Looking around, there is not a single survivor. The death is extremely miserable, killed with one knife. At this moment, a child's scream woke Asuma from his fear. "Oh no. This is Konohamaru's voice." Sarutobi Asuma became more and more anxious, regardless of fear, quickened his pace, stood up and rushed to the source of the sound. At the same time, Kainai has almost killed all the Sarutobi people in the residential area. Only Konohamaru, who was hidden in the closet by his people, was left. This is the last one in the residential area. "Kainai, what are you going to do?" Zetsu was hiding in the wall, and Beisetsu said to Kainai in a voice that only the two of them could hear. Kainai shook his head. "No, it should be said that there are two. Isn't there another one rushing over outside?" As he spoke, Kainai punched through the cabinet and pulled Konohamaru out. Konohamaru was instantly frightened and burst into tears. The cold eyes under Kainai's mask frightened him to death. Kainai didn't waste his words with him. He raised his Zanpakuto and cut off 3.5 taels of meat from Konohamaru's lower body. Konohamaru screamed, and his crying stopped abruptly. The whole person twitched a few times and fainted directly from the pain. Kainai was very kind to stop the bleeding for him, so that he would not die. "Don't you want to kill him?" Seeing that Kainai only destroyed Konohamaru's tools, Black Zetsu couldn't help asking. No, I said that I would leave incense for the third generation, so I have to leave incense, and I can't be partial to one over the other." Kainai threw the unconscious Konohamaru aside. "Hey, Kainai, this is how you leave incense for others." Beiju's mouth twitched. Although he was not human, he knew that once a human male lost his lower body, it meant that he lost his fertility. Now Konohamaru is not even a complete man. How can he leave incense for others? PS. For the third update, thanks to one click to open the heaven gate, for the reward of 1,500 starting coins. Thanks to one sentence one painting, for the reward of 500 starting coins. Thanks to Quasar, for the reward of 5,000 starting coins. Chapter 40, leaving a legacy for the Sarutobi family. Kainai smiled and ignored the pair of yin-yang escape products. He turned around and slowly walked out of the room, just in time to bump into Asuma, who came rushing over after hearing the noise. Looking at the bodies of the tribe members lying in a pool of blood in the yard, Sarutobi Asuma picked up two chakra knives he usually used and rushed over. However, Kainai dodged them easily with a flash. "Who are you? What did you do to my tribe? Where is Konohamaru?" Asuma asked harshly. Because he had never met Kainai before, he did not recognize the latter's identity. Not to mention that Kainai was still wearing an Anbu mask at the moment. As the saying goes, seeing is believing, hearing is false. "The kid is in there, you can go in and see for yourself." Kayanai pointed out the location of Konohamaru in a calm tone and did not mean to rush to take action. Upon hearing this, Sarutobi Asuma didn't care about Kayanai standing by. He suddenly appeared in the room in an instant. Looking at Konohamaru lying on the ground with a pale face, blood on his lower body, and in a coma, he fell to his knees with a plop. His eyes were empty, and he was horrified. Konohamaru Kayanai stood at the door, folded his arms, and said calmly, "Allah, I'm sorry, the son of the third Hokage, Sarutobi Asuma, let you see such a bloody scene." At this point, he raised a playful laugh at the corner of his mouth and added, "At least, he should be chopped into pieces, so that you won't be so sad. Damn it, I'll kill you." With a roar, Sarutobi Asuma picked up the chakra double swords again, covered them with wind attribute chakra, and rushed towards Kayanai. Crack, the wooden door was like paper, and was instantly chopped into pieces by the wind attribute chakra blade. Kayanai jumped back to the courtyard very easily, and said indifferently, "Don't bluff, that will only make you look weak and incompetent." Sarutobi Asuma was furious, his eyes were instantly covered with blood red. He threw the chakra knife in the air, and quickly formed seals with his hands. Just when he wanted to perform fire style, ash burning, a huge tree suddenly sprang out from the ground, and tied his limbs. Ding, the chakra knife fell to the ground, and Sarutobi Asuma's limbs lost the ability to move. He looked at Kayanai with disbelief, and was shocked, and lost his mind. "This is Hong's illusion magic, tree binding kill. Who are you?" Allah finally recognized it. "Let me introduce myself. Kayanai, Fujiwara Kayanai, Sarutobi Asuma, the son of the third generation Hokage. Do you want to see my knife, this mirror flower water moon? Shatter it." Mirror flower water moon. Kayanai drew the sword at his waist and first released the mirror flower water moon out of habit. Then he slowly walked towards Sarutobi Asuma. He had no intention of killing the other party, since he had promised to leave a legacy for Sarutobi Hiruzen. How could he break his promise? "You bastard, my father cultivated you so much, and asked Hong to teach you illusions, but you turned a blind eye, and slaughtered my entire Sarutobi clan." Looking at Kayanai, who was walking towards him like a god of death, Sarutobi Asuma screamed hysterically. His extreme unwillingness, resentment, and fear made his spirit on the verge of collapse, and he intended to break free from Kayanai's illusion. Unfortunately, how could he break free from Kayanai's illusion? "You seem to have made a mistake. Sarutobi Hiruzen has never done me any favors." As Kayanai spoke, he raised his knife and slashed it. With a flash of blood, Sarutobi Asuma instantly became incomplete. The double pain of soul and body made him howl to the sky and scream in pain. Kayanai was quick-witted, and took out the few remaining Zimu rivers from the system warehouse, turned them into water bullets, and shot them into his mouth, then kicked him dozens of meters away, until he fainted completely. "What did you just feed him?" Black Zetsu asked, crawling out from the huge pitcher grass. "Of course it's good stuff. Do you two want to try it too?" Kayanai took off his mask, and stared at Zetsu with a smile. What a human with a bad taste. Black Zetsu felt a chill in his heart, and said to Kayanai, "Now that the matter is over, whether you leave Konoha now, Madara and Itachi's side will also be over soon." "How long did it take me?" Kayanai asked Black Zetsu. "Since the annihilation of the Shimura clan at 6:40, 35 minutes have passed, and it is now 7:15. Black Zetsu said. "No hurry. After all, I promised Uchiha Itachi that I would meet him at 7 o'clock. Although I'm late, I can't miss such a big event as witnessing the extermination of the Uchiha clan." After leaving these words, Kayanai put on the Anbu mask again, and disappeared in the Sarutobi family's house. Night fell. Tonight, the Uchiha second pillar was kept by the ninja school teacher Yumino Iruka for special training. Iruka just received an order from the upper level, saying that he would give special guidance to Sasuke. He and Sasuke had no idea how deep the water was hidden behind this. Under the beautiful full moon, Uchiha Itachi squatted on an electric pole in the Uchiha clan's land, and the Scarlet 3 Magatama Sharingan in his eyes exuded a bewitching and dangerous color. In the next moment, he disappeared from the spot. Because he couldn't wait for Kayanai for a long time, he was worried that the plan would change, so he chose to act in advance. At the border of the Uchiha clan's land, 5 Anbu members headed by Sarutobi Shinosuke had already been lurking in the dark. waiting outside to capture the fish that escaped, except Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Satsuki. Chiya is also their target. They are all members of the Sarutobi clan, and they are the type that Sarutobi heroes entrusts the most, and they will never leak any news. Even elites like Kakashi cannot participate. Hearing the screams coming out of the Uchiha clan territory, one of the Sarutobi clan's Anbu said to Sarutobi Shinosuke, "Captain, it seems that the massacre has begun. But why didn't I see Fujiwara Chiya go in? Didn't he say that he and Uchiha Itachi would be exterminated together tonight? Could it be that he discovered something and took Uchiha Izumi away from Konoha?" Sarutobi Shinosuke shook his head. "Impossible. We have been monitoring here all the time. Fujiwara Chiya can't take Uchiha Izumi away from under our noses. Captain, what should we do? The agreed time has passed, and Fujiwara Chiya hasn't come yet. Should we notify the clan leader? What if he left Uchiha Izumi and escaped alone?" The Enbu continued to ask. Sarutobi Shinosuke thought for a moment and said, "Well, you have a point. Jing, go and report this to father. We will continue to watch here." The latter sentence was said to his wife. "I understand." Sarutobi Shinosuke's wife nodded and disappeared in an instant. However, at the moment when her figure flew up, a black shadow suddenly passed in front of her. Along with it, there was a bone-chilling knife light. Sarutobi Shinosuke's wife didn't even have time to scream before her head was moved, and her head fell straight to the hiding place of Sarutobi Shinosuke and the other 3PS. First update. Please recommend and vote for me. Chapter 41. Sarutobi Shinosuke's death. Meeting Fugaku. Captain, something seems to have fallen. The previous Anbu whispered to Sarutobi Shinosuke. Go and have a look. Sarutobi Shinosuke frowned as he had a bad feeling in his heart. The Enbu ninja nodded and was about to go forward to check when suddenly a pure white blade pierced through his chest. The Enbu ninja screamed and died instantly. Shimada. Sarutobi Shinosuke was shocked and suddenly got alert. He suddenly distanced himself from the Anbu ninja called Shimada. The remaining two Anbu followed closely behind, drew their sabers, and were ready for battle. At this time, Sarutobi Shinosuke suddenly felt something trip him under his feet. He looked down and saw that it was his wife's head, with bulging eyes and a horrified face. She was deader than dead. "Quiet!" Sarutobi Shinosuke screamed, his eyes bloodshot, and suddenly looked at the body of Shimada pierced by the blade, and asked sternly, "Asshole, who are you? Ararala. Weren't you looking for me just now? Am I not here?" Kyuubi pulled out the blade, slowly walked out of the darkness, revealing a smiling mask. "It's you." Fujiwara Chiya. Sarutobi Shinosuke was furious, with murderous intent in his eyes. After all, he was a Konoha ninja who had been crawling among the dead for many years. He quickly calmed down and looked at the two Anbu ninjas beside him. The latter two looked at each other and nodded, quickly formed seals with their hands, and inserted the blade into the ground with understanding, and a stream of chakra gathered in their throats. Fire style. Fire dragon bullet technique. Wind style. Fierce wind slash. The Sarutobi clan is also very good at fire style, and the teammates who can serve as Sarutobi Shinosuke are the best among them, and are no less than most Uchiha clan members. Sarutobi Shinosuke, on the other hand, specialized in wind escape, in addition to being good at fire escape. He quickly jumped behind the two men, quickly formed a seal with his left hand that was not holding the sword, and blew out a stream of wind pressure from his mouth to cover his saber. Fire escape was used as a feint, and while the opponent was dodging, Sarutobi Shinosuke used wind escape to kill the opponent. Years of cooperation had already allowed them to develop a close tacit understanding. With this tactic, they had killed countless powerful enemies. Too slow. However, before they could use the technique, Kyuubi had already arrived in front of the two Anbu ninjas, cut off their heads with a knife, and the fire dragon bullet died in the womb. Sarutobi Shinosuke's face suddenly changed. This level of instant body technique was beyond his ability to handle. This reminded him of the deceased fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze. There was no time for him to think too much. While Kyuubi was killing his two teammates, Sarutobi Shinosuke swung the saber covered with wind pressure and chopped at Kyuubi with a wind blade. Kyuubi just stood there and watched the wind blade come. Just when Sarutobi Shinosuke thought Kyuubi had no way to avoid it, Kyuubi slowly raised his left hand and extended his index finger. With a ding, Sarutobi Shinosuke's wind blade was caught by Kyanai barehanded. Not bad wind escape. You are already a leader in the transformation of wind attribute chakra to this extent. But it's a pity that it's useless. The battle of ninjas is a battle of chakra. With just the wind pressure generated by your chakra, I only need to condense the fire attribute chakra in my palm to restrain wind escape, and it can be easily offset. Kyanai bent his index finger, pinched the blade, and slashed it down in the astonished eyes of Sarutobi Shinosuke. Crash. In an instant, blood gushed out. Sarutobi Shinosuke was cut from his right shoulder to his left abdomen, leaving a hideous and terrifying wound. How is this possible? With a weak voice, Sarutobi Shinosuke's blade broke free, and he fell down unwillingly. I've wasted so much time. I hope it's not too late. Uchiha Fugaku's Mangeki Sharingan can't be let go. Thinking this in his heart, Kyanai shook off the blood on the blade of the blade, and no longer cared about Sarutobi Shinosuke. His figure flashed, and suddenly disappeared from the spot, and quickly rushed to Daisaro's house. After Kyanai left, the huge pitcher plant slowly drilled out from the ground. White Zetsu said, "This guy's too strong. He can catch the wind blade with one finger. Even Lord Madara, who hasn't opened the Samsara, right, dare not be so crazy. It seems that he has mastered some kind of ninjutsu similar to the 4th generation Raikage's lightning escape body protection." Black Zetsu said his guess. "What should we do? Should we follow him? It seems that Itachi's mission is to kill Kyanai. He still doesn't know that Kyanai has joined Akatsuki. If one of them dies, Akatsuki will lose an important member." White Zetsu said. Black Zetsu thought for a moment and said, "Go find Obito. The battle between the Mangeki and the Senjutsu is not something we can interfere with." As soon as the voice fell, the huge pitcher plant slowly melted into the ground and disappeared. On the other side, Kyanai had already arrived at Obito's house. Sensing the chakra of Fugaku and his wife Makoto in the room, and Obito who was still slaughtering the Uchiha clan in the distance, Kyanai murmured, "It seems that we have caught up." As he spoke, Kyanai pushed open the room and walked in. He saw Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Makoto kneeling on the tatami waiting for their son to slaughter them. "It's you?" Fugaku was a little surprised, and so was Makoto. Then Uchiha Fugaku said again, "Did the 3rd Hokage and Anzo send you to kill us? You don't have to do that. If possible, I would rather die at the hands of my own son." "Who said I came to kill you? Didn't you just meet that traitor Itachi with your shadow clone? Have you ever seen me kill an Uchiha?" Kyanai rolled his eyes, and added in his heart that at most, he would wait for Itachi to kill you, and then reclaim your blood and Sharingan. "Then why did you come here?" Uchiha Fugaku thought about it, and realized that this was indeed the case, so he couldn't help asking. "Nothing. I just want to reclaim your Mangeki Sharingan, after you are killed by your precious son. Rather than having your eyes disposed of by your filial son who killed his father and mother, or falling into the hands of Danzo or even someone with ulterior motives, it's better to give them to me. At least, because of Izumi, I won't attack the Uchiha people." Kyanai said calmly, glancing at Uchiha Makoto who was standing aside. The long fine black hair often falls on the shoulders, making her look a little soft. She wears a lavender tight dress for mature women. The clean and tidy dress perfectly outlines her beautiful mature curves. Under the dress is a pair of dazzling snow white long legs, which makes people feel a fiery impulse in their hearts. The slender waist is tied with a white belt, which highlights the slender waist to the fullest. She looks like a standard Yamato Nadeshiko. For orphans who have never felt the love of their mother, she is extremely tolerant and lethal. Kyanai couldn't help but sigh in his heart, such a beautiful woman, but his wife is going to die. What a pity. PS. Second update, please recommend and monthly votes. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42, Fugaku's Kaleidoscope. He saw the future. Hearing this, Uchiha Fugaku opened his Mangeki Sharingan, was stunned for a moment, and then a relieved smile appeared on his face. "I see. It seems that you are going to take Izumi away from this village. How did you know? Is it because of the power of this pair of Mangeki Sharingan?" Kanai took off his mask and had a guess in his mind. In the original work, Fugaku had shown Takashi the vague future after exposing his Manjaki Sharingan. Not surprisingly, Fugaku's Manjaki ability is similar to the prophetic dream of the great toad sage of Maiboki Mountain. It can vaguely predict a corner of the future. It's not impossible to think about it. The Sharingan is known as the Eye of the Soul. Shisu's wishes for the village and the tribe to live in peace, so he gave birth to Kutamatsu-kami who can modify his will. Because of Sasuke's anger towards Konoha, he gave birth to Amaterasu and Kagutsuchi, who can burn everything. Itachi became confused because he had been wandering between Konoha and Uchiha for many years. He could not recognize himself for a while and gave birth to Tsukuyomi. Later, during the Akatsuki organization, Biwajuzo used his beheading sword to take the tailed beast bowl to protect him, and his life was in danger. He gave birth to Amaterasu, who could defeat the three-tails Jinchuriki. As for Fugaku, he has always been worried about the future of the Uchiha clan, but he is powerless to change the status quo. In this way, it is not surprising that he can give birth to the eye technique that predicts the future. And Fugaku's next words also confirmed Kanai's guess. The pupil technique of my eyes is called Takamagahara. The ability of my left eye is to predict what will happen in the next 5 seconds, and the ability of my right eye is to predict what will happen in the past 5 minutes. If both eyes are used at the same time, if you are lucky, you can see a vague corner of the future. Kanai, you seem to have killed quite a few people from the Sarutobi clan. Kanai suddenly realized and chuckled. Not only did I kill a lot of people, it's not an exaggeration to say that I slaughtered the entire Sarutobi clan. Now there are only 3 people left in the Sarutobi clan: Sarutobi Hiruzen, Sarutobi Asuma, and Sarutobi Konohamaru. By the way, I didn't let the Shimura clan go, except for that old guy Denzo, and now the Shimura clan has been slaughtered by me. Those 2 old guys, on the one hand, asked me to wipe out the Uchiha clan on the condition of leaving Izumi, and on the other hand, ordered your precious son to kill me and Izumi. Since you dare to set your sights on me, you should be prepared to pay the price. Besides, isn't this also a revenge for Izumi's family, that is, your Uchiha clan? I see. It seems that the third Hokage and Anzo will be very angry when they know about this. Uchiha Fugaku showed a relieved look on his face and laughed heartily. Kanai, I thank you on behalf of the souls of the entire Uchiha clan. As he spoke, he leaned over and made a kneeling ceremony to Kanai. Changing the subject, Uchiha Fugaku's smile faded, and he suddenly asked, Kanai, do you know why I chose to trust you when I knew you were a spy sent by the Konoha high-level officials? Isn't it because of your precious son, who was brainwashed by the third Hokage and Anzo, and is about to kill his father and mother? Kanai pouted. Uchiha Fugaku laughed dumbly. This is only one aspect. On the other hand, I see the hope of the revival of the Uchiha clan in you. What hope? Kanai was stunned. Now almost all the Uchiha clan members are dead. Even at the end of Naruto, the Uchiha clan has not revived. Only one son was left, all alone and helpless, with a broken arm. P.S. The ending here refers to the ending of Shippuden. I will not admit to the garbage like Boruto, nor will I quote those garbage settings. What's more, Hinata has been snatched away by the protagonist, and Boruto will never appear again. Important words to say 3 times. Boruto is not Naruto. Boruto is not Naruto. Boruto is not Naruto. At that time, I saw many children with Sharingan opened around you in the future. At first I thought it was the Uchiha clan members you saved. But now it seems. At this point, Uchiha Fugaku's mouth twitched fiercely, and his face was extremely strange and complicated. He looked at his wife, Uchiha Makoto beside him. Just now, he saw a corner of the future, and saw Chiya with children and grandchildren, wives and concubines, and his wife was among them. Uchiha Makoto listened to the conversation between the 2 of them without interrupting them. In her opinion, before dying, it might not be bad to listen to this very interesting young man talk. Seeing Uchiha Fugaku looking at her like a cheating wife, Makoto blushed and couldn't help asking, Fugaku, what's wrong? Nothing. Uchiha Fugaku shook his head, thinking of Sasuke, Itachi who was about to arrive, and his wife's future happiness. He knew that, if he didn't speak at this moment, his wife would die. the eldest son would also die because of the order of the Konoha high-level officials to attack Kainai. Even the youngest son would eventually die because of the loss of the eldest son's secret protection. Warning Danzo. After thinking again and again, Uchiha Fugaku finally made a decision and said to Kainai, "Kainai, I want to make a deal with you." "What deal?" Kainai became interested. "Itachi should be here soon. After I die, I can give you the Sharingan and the ninjutsu collected by the Uchiha clan. In exchange, I hope you can take Makoto away from Konoha." Uchiha Fugaku bowed and pleaded. As soon as the voice fell, Kainai's long-lost system prompt sounded in his mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for starting the Lalita option. As the strongest Lalita control, how can you watch the beautiful woman in front of you, the wife like Lalita, die? 1. Agree to all of Fugaku's conditions and reward 1 kilogram of pure gold in the pirate world. 2. In front of Fugaku, commit the crime and reward perfect wind attribute chakra and nature change. 3. After Fugaku dies, in front of the filial son, forcibly use the crossbow and reward the Rasengan series of ninjutsu. 4. Sit back and let Uchiha Makoto die. Reward I love a piece of firewood. What is pure gold in the pirate world? I believe that those who have watched One Piece will not be too unfamiliar. This is a strange metal that can make people immortal to some extent. Eating pure gold can prolong life and quickly cure various diseases. As long as it is in contact with it, it can inhibit the growth of age, make the speed of life pass infinitely slow. It is impossible to say that Kainai is not interested in this thing, but agreeing to all of Fugaku's conditions would be a little tricky. What if he proposed some perverted conditions? And what about the second and third options? Thinking of this, Kainai's mouth twitched fiercely, and then he heard Makoto next to Fugaku say, "Fugaku, no, if you want to die, we will die together." PS. First update. Chapter 43 Find a stepfather for Uzi. Fugaku looked at Makoto and said sternly, "Makoto, you should know that the Uchiha clan is finished. As the head of the Uchiha clan, I died in the line of duty and have no choice but to do my duty. But you are different. You are not only a member of the Uchiha clan, but also the mother of Sasuke. I don't want that child to live in darkness for the rest of his life." In fact, Fugaku never wanted to cuckold himself. But if Makoto died, according to the development of the next thing, once Itachi attacked Kainai, because of the order of the Konoha high level, then according to the latter's personality of revenge, he would definitely not show mercy. Kainai was able to quietly exterminate the Shimura clan and the Sarutobi clan. I'm afraid that Itachi now has a great chance of dying at the hands of the former. Once the eldest son died, the younger son would be in danger. For the sake of his 2 sons and the revival of the Uchiha clan, he could only entrust Makoto to Kainai. Sasuke. Hearing these 2 words, Makoto's heart softened again, lowered her head, and said nothing more. "Please, Kainai." Uchiha Fugaku once again bowed to Kainai. Makoto hesitated, then knelt down with tears in her eyes. "I know, it's not difficult to take her out, but it's a big problem to take care of her safety after she gets out. You should know that she is different from Kwan. She is a person who knows the truth about the extermination of the Uchiha clan. If people know that she is still alive, it will cause a lot of trouble. In other words, Aunt Makoto, for a long time in the future, you will need to announce your fake death to the public, and you will not be able to see Sasuke again, and it will be even more impossible for the filial son." Kainai looked at Makoto with admiration, and finally couldn't resist the temptation of the beautiful woman, wife, and pure gold that can make people immortal, and chose to agree to Fugaku's conditions. "Thank you very much." Uchiha Makoto closed her eyes in pain, and tears could no longer stop flowing from the corners of her eyes. "Time is running out. Next, I will use a special sealing technique to let you enter a different dimension like Izumi, and then create an illusion that can deceive the Mangekyou Sharingan, so that it will die in Itachi's hands instead of you. When we are in a safe enough place, I will release you." As he spoke, Kainai summoned a crow, drew out the Zanpakuto at his waist, and whispered, "Shatter, Mirror Flower and Water Moon." In an instant, Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Makoto felt their souls dazed for a moment, and when they looked at Kainai again, they saw that the crow beside him had turned into Makoto without knowing when. What a magical skill. Not only the appearance, but even the chakra is almost exactly the same. Uchiha Fugaku stared at the Mangeki and exclaimed. Then, let's begin. Kainai walked in front of Uchiha Makoto. Are you ready? Uchiha Makoto looked at Fugaku one last time, and Fugaku smiled with relief and said, don't worry, Makoto. Sasuke will still need you in the future. Hearing this, Makoto nodded with a lonely look. She knew that after this, the two of them would be separated forever. Kainai didn't talk too much nonsense with them. He suddenly pressed the sleeping point of Makoto in the middle, making her lose consciousness. Then he symbolically formed a seal quickly, pressed his palms on Makoto's chest, and put her into the system space in Fugaku's shocked eyes. On the other side, Uchiha Itachi had arrived at Uchiha Izumi's residence. He knew Kainai was a strong enemy. For safety reasons, he specially kept Uchiha Izumi as the second to last. Parents are the first. He pushed the door carefully and saw that there was no mechanism in the room. Uchiha Izumi was sleeping peacefully on the bed again. Uchiha Itachi couldn't help but feel a little surprised. Could it be that something has happened to Kainai? He originally thought that the reason why Kainai did not come to the appointment was that he discovered something and planned to take Uchiha Izumi away from Konoha. Now that Uchiha Izumi is here, but Kainai did not come, there is only this explanation. It is estimated that Kainai discovered something and went to the Konoha level. Either he was delayed or he was killed by Danzo. After all, Shisu is a lesson. Thinking this in his heart, Uchiha Itachi did not doubt him and swung his sword to kill Uchiha Izumi. However, the next moment, he suddenly had an extremely unreal feeling in his heart. He stepped forward and pinched the side of Uchiha Izumi to examine it carefully, and then he collected his mind and left the room in an instant. It seems that I thought too much. The next step will be a showdown between Mangekyo. Uchiha Itachi whispered in his heart, quickened his pace, and hurried to his home. Your precious son is coming soon. Do you have any last wishes? Kainai sensed the chakra of the filial son. Seeing that the system had not yet sent out the sound of obtaining rewards, he pretended to ask Fugaku nonchalantly. Fugaku nodded, took out the ninjutsu scroll collected by the Uchiha family from the secret compartment in the room, and gave it to Kainai. The illusion you created can hide from my insight, which means that your illusion has surpassed the Mangeki. If Itachi attacks you, I'm afraid you will not be able to escape. I hope you can let Itachi go for Makoto's sake. I believe that after this time, Itachi will never dare to attack you again. As a reward, I can give you this. As he spoke, Fugaku took out a letter from his arms, on which the words divorce were clearly written. What do you mean by this? Kainai frowned. Remember what I said before, you are the hope of reviving the Uchiha clan. Fugaku smiled bitterly, kneeling beside the illusion of Makoto. At first, I thought you rescued some of the clan members. Until just now I opened the Mangeki Sharingan and saw you and Makoto at the same time. What will happen to you in the future? Kainai asked with a guilty conscience. Could it be that he was found out about his wife's body? Uchiha Fugaku smiled bitterly and shook his head. No, it's nothing. Anyway, from now on, Makoto is no longer my wife. I hope you can treat her well, and at the same time, let her eldest son go. As for Sasuke, please take care of him when you have time. After saying that, Uchiha Fugaku closed his eyes and quietly waited for death to come. Listening to Fugaku's obvious words, Kainai couldn't guess what the other party meant. Moreover, he didn't intend to kill Daisaozi now. To a certain extent, living with everything like the original work is the greatest punishment for Itachi. Okay, I promise you. Kainai nodded. As soon as the words fell, a system prompt sounded in his mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1 kilogram of pure gold from the pirate world. It has been automatically stored in the system warehouse. Kainai took out the pure gold and looked at it. He immediately cut off a small piece and used the lightning attribute property change chakra and fire attribute property change chakra to melt it into a round ring. He held it in his hand and whispered in his heart, Izumi is only 13 years old, and Hinata is even younger. This first pure gold ring will be given to Han. PS. Second update. Chapter 44 The Enraged 3 Generations. Not long after, Uchiha Itachi came over. After a while of fatherly and filial chat, Fugaku gladly went to die in the midst of the butcher's knife with tears in his eyes. Kainai watched the whole process from the side. After Fugaku died, he controlled Jinghua Shuayu to transform a crow prepared in advance outside the house into his own appearance. Itachi, Danzo has promised to let Izumi go. Why did you kill her? Hearing this, Uchiha Itachi was startled, suddenly disappeared in the house, and appeared again, already outside the house. Without any idea of hiding his strength, he knew that ordinary Sharingan illusions were ineffective against Kainai, so he directly used the main Gekyo illusion Tsukuyomi that killed 1,000 enemies and hurt himself 800, pulled Kainai into the illusion space, and then took advantage of the latter's mental breakdown to slash and kill him. The real Kainai took this opportunity to collect Uchiha Fugaku's body. Ding, a special bloodline and main Gekyo Sharingan were detected. Do you want to extract it? Extract. Kainai said decisively. Ding, extraction completed. Do you want to swallow it? Not for now. The eternal manger key needs to be in pairs to exert its power to the maximum extent, and it is still unknown whether Katamatsukami can be retained after swallowing it. Anyway, with his strength, it doesn't matter whether he has the manger key or not. He plans to swallow it after using up Katamatsukami or getting another Katamatsukami. In this way, with 2 copies of Uchiha blood at the same time, the 2 pairs of manger key will be connected. They are not brothers, but better than brothers. They will definitely be able to fuse the eternal manger key. Put Fugaku's body back in the original place, and in the state of Kagami Water Moon, he still looks like he has not lost his eyes. Uchiha Itachi was hypnotized by Kagami Water Moon and knew nothing about all this. After killing Chiya, he covered his left eye, which was in unbearable pain due to the release of Tsukuyomi, and returned to the house, quietly waiting for the arrival of the 2 pillars. Outside the house, the 2 Zetsu Black and White and Obito not far away were very surprised to see Chiya's body. Hey, is this true or not? Kainai's dead. White Zetsu exclaimed. He had witnessed Kainai slaughtering the Sarutobi clan. Apart from Pain Samsarai, it was not an exaggeration to say that he was a rare rival in the ninja world. It seems that we are still a step late, but to be able to kill an opponent of Kainai's level, Itachi must have used the eye technique given by the manger key. Black Zetsu said with some regret. He had originally thought of using Kainai to speed up the process of his mother's resurrection. Compared with the surprise of the first 2, Obito, who had not seen the video of Kainai's extermination of the clan, was much calmer, and he was more proud of the power of the Uchiha clan. Just as he was about to say something, a slightly teasing voice suddenly sounded beside his ear. Who did you just say was dead? Then, without any warning, a hand was placed on his shoulder. Obito suddenly became alert and hurriedly made his body virtual, jumped back, and immediately distanced himself from Kainai. Zetsu subconsciously put away the pitcher plant and burrowed into the ground. Hey, I told you that we are companions after all. Why are you reacting so strongly? Please, give me a little trust, okay? Kainai spread his hands helplessly, revealing a distressed look. Hearing this, Zetsu just crawled out from the ground, and White Zetsu exclaimed, Kainai, aren't you dead? Who told you I was dead? Kainai asked knowingly. What's the matter with that corpse? Black Zetsu controlled the pitcher plant to look at the corpse of Kainai. Not only the appearance, but also the chakra is beyond the scope of realism. The most important thing for ninjas is intelligence. Just as I didn't seek your intelligence, I can't tell you this secret. Kainai smiled faintly and turned his eyes to Obito. How is it? Is it resolved over there? Everything is fine. If there is nothing else, just follow us. As for Itachi, we still need to arrange some things. Let's wait for him outside Konoha village. Obito glanced at the corpse of Kainai below and looked at Kainai again with more fear. Not only does he possess immortal arts, a lifelike substitute, but he can also deceive his and Zetsu's perception. In terms of the degree of danger, this guy has seriously surpassed Uchiha Itachi, who possesses the Mangekyou Sharingan. Then you go first. It's just right. I have something to arrange. Kainai turned around and was about to leave, and then heard Uchiha Obito say, what are you going to do? We killed so many people from the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan tonight. We have to give them an explanation. I'm looking forward to seeing the 3rd generation and Danzo's furious look. By the way, don't take that corpse with you. If you like it, I will give you one each later. It's free anyway. Leaving this sentence, Kainai put on the Anbu mask and disappeared from the sight of Obito and the two Zetsu of black and white. Looking at the place where Kainai disappeared, Black Zetsu said to Obito in a hoarse voice, "Madara, what are you going to do? Let's go." Obito's face under the mask was gloomy and terrible until he heard Black Zetsu calling him Madara. It was slightly relieved, and the right eye hole on the mask began to twist, sucking his body in, and disappeared. Black Zetsu controlled the pitcher plant, merged into the ground, and followed closely. At the same time, Sarutobi Hiruzen was sitting in the Hokage building quietly waiting for his son Shinosuke's report, so that he could go to the Anbu base backed by the Hokage building and lead the team with Danzo to the Uchiha clan to issue a blockade order and a wanted order for Uchiha Itachi. Not long after, the Anbu ninja arrived, but it was not his son who came. It was not his daughter-in-law, nor was it his clan. It was another Anbu captain. He knelt on one knee in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen and shouted in a panic, "Hokage-sama, Shinosuke-sama, what happened to Shinosuke?" Sarutobi Hiruzen stood up suddenly. All the members of the team led by Lord Shinosuke were killed, including Lord Shizuka. 3 of them were beheaded, 1 was pierced through the chest, and Lord Shinosuke was slashed in the chest and died on the spot. Boom. Sarutobi Hiruzen was struck by lightning, and the whole person instantly collapsed on the office chair, almost fainting. In less than half a minute, Sarutobi Hiruzen had already rushed to the gate of the Uchiha clan with the Anbu. Danzo, on the other hand, went to the Konoha guard headquarters very cunningly, with a slightly bulging belly, painfully and happily going to retrieve the Sharingan. The bodies of 5 confidants, including his son and daughter-in-law. Moreover, the daughter-in-law and 2 clansmen had been separated from their heads. His son was not much better. A narrow knife wound on his chest almost split his body in 2, leaving only the spine and back skin and flesh tissue connected. His pupils were wide open, as if he had seen something horrible before he died, almost bulging, and he died with his eyes open. PS. The third update. Chapter 45. At this time, the third generation and Danzo were still unaware that their clan had been exterminated. Who is it? Seeing his son's miserable state, Sarutobi Hiruzen could no longer maintain his usual gentleness and kindness, and spat out these 2 words with gritted teeth. The ferocious face and the bulging veins on his temples made the surrounding Anbu ninjas shudder. At this moment, everyone present knew that the third Hokage, who was known as the strongest Hokage of all generations and the ninja hero, was angry. No, it's not clear. We had already found out. When we found out, the Anbu ninja next to him said timidly. Before Sarutobi Hiruzen could reply, the Anbu team led by Kakashi rushed over from the Uchiha clan's territory. Hokage-sama, Sasuke Uchiha is the only one left alive in the Uchiha clan, but he is in a deep coma due to a jinjutsu. And Kakashi's expression under the mask was particularly complicated. He hesitated and continued. We also found Kainai's body. He seemed to have been hit by some powerful jinjutsu similar to Sasuke Uchiha before he died. Then he was pierced through the chest and killed with a knife. His mask and sword were also missing. Now the body has been collected. Kainai was a disciple of his good friend Kunoha, the white moonlight of his teachers Orphan Naruto. He himself had taught Kainai ninjutsu and had a very good impression of the latter. No matter who it was, no one wanted to see Kainai die, especially Kunoha. I'm afraid no one knew more about her concern for Kainai than Kakashi. During the year that Kainai joined the Anbu to monitor the Uchiha clan, she asked him about Kainai's news almost every other day. In this regard, he could only tell her that he was safe without revealing the mission. It is hard to imagine how heavy a blow Yuhi Kunoha would suffer if she knew that Chiya was dead. Hearing about Chiya's death, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt a little comforted. But he was an old fox after all. He noticed the depression in Kakashi's mood. At this moment, he had to restrain his grief and murderous intent, pretending to be regretful and said, Chiya died to protect his fellow Uchiha clan members in Konoha. He is a hero of Konoha. After dealing with the remains of the Uchiha clan, you can take people to bury him. As for Kunoha, Chiya is her disciple after all, so you can help notify her. Yes, Hokage. Kakashi responded respectfully, deeply moved, and admired the third Hokage's considerate behavior for his subordinates. After Kakashi left, the third generation's eyes suddenly turned cold, and he said sternly, "Immediately start counting the number of deaths in the Uchiha clan, and check them one by one. In addition, send the bodies of Shinosuke and others to the analysis department. I want to know who killed him." He suspected that in addition to Itachi, there were other strong people in the Uchiha clan. Otherwise, with the strength of his son, an elite Jonin, coupled with 4 capable assistants, it is impossible for him to die so miserably. Moreover, it is very likely that it was the mysterious man who cut off Danzo's left arm and took away Shisu's right eye. After speaking, Sarutobi Hiruzen led a group of Anbu around him and quickly entered the Uchiha clan. This time, in addition to finding the murderer who killed his son's clan, he also needed to find a scapegoat for the extermination of the Uchiha clan. Although most of the blame can be put on Uchiha Itachi, but the old foxes in the major families of Konoha are not so easy to fool. They are as clear as a mirror in their hearts about the trivial matters of the Uchiha clan and the Konoha high-level officials. If things go wrong, everyone will be in danger and Konoha will be in disarray. By then, he will not be able to sit firmly on the position of Hokage. This is definitely not what Sarutobi Hiruzen wants to see, so he needs to find someone to take the blame. This person is none other than his good friend Shimura Danzo. There are 2 advantages to doing this. On the one hand, it can calm the dissatisfaction of the major families in Konoha. On the other hand, the root has become too powerful to be eliminated, and it has even reached a situation where he, the strongest Hokage of all generations, is not taken seriously. There is only Danzo in their hearts, not the third generation. It is just a good opportunity to weaken the power of the root. This is also the reason why he agreed to Danzo to go to the Konoha Guard headquarters. As for the little tricks that Danzo secretly did, reclaim the Sharingan, it's clear. Just treat it as a certain compensation for Danzo. Poor Danzo lost the watermelon and picked up sesame seeds. He was secretly proud of the annihilation of the Uchiha clan, but he didn't know that he was always in Sarutobi Hiruzen's calculations. Of course, Sarutobi Hiruzen himself was not much better. Not only did his eldest son and daughter-in-law die, but the entire clan was almost wiped out by Chiya. In secret, Chiya watched everything. He faked his death on a whim. The purpose was to create an illusion for the Konoha high-level officials that someone was impersonating him and destroying the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan. There was no other way. He couldn't leave his disciple Ankoma Terushi behind like Orochimaru did, pat his butt and walk away. Kyuubi was still in Konoha. This was a disguised form of protection for Kyuubi. Afterwards, no matter whether Sarutobi Hiruzen knew whether he had killed the Sarutobi clan members or not, he was already dead, so Sarutobi Hiruzen could only swallow his anger. When he returned to Konoha again, it would be the time for Konoha's collapse plan. It's time to go see Han. Considering that the root ninjas had not seen the release of Kyokusu Jetsu, Kanai thought again and again, and took away the 3 crows that died in his place, Uchiha Izumi and Makoto under the cover of Kyokusu Jetsu. Then he stole Fugaku and several other Uchiha clan members with 3 Magatama Sharingan as smoke bombs. Finally, he left the Uchiha clan land quietly. At the same time, Konoha Guard headquarters. Hurry up and be careful, don't damage my Sharingan. Danzo endured the abdominal pain while commanding the root ninjas to retrieve the Sharingan, feeling both painful and happy. At this time, a root ninja came to report, Danzo-sama, the death toll has been counted. Except for Uchiha Fugaku who is in the Uchiha clan's territory, all the other members of the Konoha Guard have been killed. I have sent the death list to the third Hokage as you requested, but, he hesitated and continued, the vast majority of people have had their eyes gouged out. There are not many 3 Magatama left. The damn bastard. Danzo frowned and cursed inwardly. He knew about this, because this was a deal he made with Obito. Obito was responsible for helping him wipe out the Konoha Guard, and in return, Obito would take away half of the Sharingan. But from what his subordinates said, it was obvious that Obito took away more than half of the Sharingan. Danzo-sama, what should we do then? Said the root ninja. Leave a few of you here to watch and continue to recover the Sharingan, and the rest of you follow me to the Uchiha clan's territory. Danzo said sternly. PS. First update. Chapter 46. Danzo's Daily Blame. Most of the people live in the Uchiha clan. Although they are not like the Konoha guard, who almost all have the 3 Magatama Sharingan, there are still many people who have opened the Sharingan. Especially the eyes of Uchiha Fugaku, which are definitely the best among the 3 Magatama. Lord Danzo can't let them go. By the way, he can also show off to Sarutobi Hiruzen. After all, the biggest contributor to the resolution of the Uchiha clan's rebellion this time is Lord Danzo. As a department directly under the Hokage, the efficiency of the Anbu is still very high. It didn't take long to sort out the death list of the Uchiha clan. The only person who didn't find a body was Uchiha Itachi. In this way, the facts are very obvious. Originally, this was also the result expected by Sarutobi Hiruzen. But Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that things were far from as simple as he imagined. His eldest son, daughter-in-law and 3 clansmen would never be killed by Uchiha Itachi. First of all, he didn't issue a killing order to Uchiha, and the Shinosuke team would never fight with Uchiha Itachi. Secondly, with Uchiha Sasuke as a bargaining chip, Uchiha Itachi would never dare to kill his clansmen. In this case, it can only be someone else. The most suspicious person is the masked man who controlled the Ninetales, killed his wife Biwako, and then cut off Danzo's left arm, and took away Shisu's right eye. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen was angry, and had a headache. A sense of powerless frustration suddenly arose in his heart. He didn't know where Konoha had offended the other party, and he was targeted so much, and repeatedly killed Konoha ninjas. This time, his eldest son and daughter-in-law were killed. If it were an ordinary person, he would have sent a large number of Konoha elite ninjas to hunt him down. But the other party seemed to control some kind of time and space ninjutsu, coming and going without a trace. It is simply beyond human reach. One wave has not settled, another wave rises. Just when Sarutobi Hiruzen was distressed, a commotion suddenly came from not far away, interrupting his thoughts. Then, an Anbu came over quickly. "Hokage, something bad has happened." "What happened?" Sarutobi Hiruzen asked with a frown. "When we were collecting the bodies just now, several bodies mysteriously disappeared," the Anbu ninja said in a panic. Obviously, even the battle-hardened Anbu elites would feel terrified by such a strange incident. Which bodies were lost? Kakashi seemed to have found a hint of something unusual, so he came over and asked. The Anbu ninja replied, "Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Makoto, Uchiha Izumi, Uchiha Kase, Uchiha Mune, Uchiha Kiyoshi." Without a doubt, they are all Uchiha clan members who have opened the Sharingan. Kakashi sighed, and then heard the Anbu ninja say, "By the way, it seems that Fujiwara Chiya's body is missing." Fujiwara Chiya. Sarutobi Hiruzen was startled when he heard this, and seemed to think of something in a trance, and hurriedly asked, "Are you sure Fujiwara Chiya is dead? If anyone has the most motive to kill his son, except for those dead Uchiha clan members and the mysterious masked man, it can only be Chiya. After all, he has issued a killing order to Chiya. Although he does not believe that with Chiya's strength, he can kill or defeat the team led by his son, in the final analysis, Chiya is also a genius, and he is not afraid of 10,000, but afraid of 1. What if Chiya is pretending to be dead? Hokage, Chiya is indeed dead." Several Anbu ninjas, and I personally checked the body. It was Kakashi who answered Sarutobi Hiruzen. He heard the hidden meaning in Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, frowned slightly, and said firmly, "I use the Sharingan to check." He suffered a fatal chest injury. The possibility of fake death and transformation technique can be completely ruled out. Chiya has outstanding looks, black hair and black eyes. Without opening the Sharingan, he appeared in the Uchiha clan's territory, and could easily be mistaken for an Uchiha member. Chiya's body was placed next to Uchiha Kase, Uchiha Mune, and Uchiha Kiyoshi. I think it must be the person who stole the body who mistook him for an Uchiha member. "Oh, I see." Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen narrowed his eyes slightly, but still did not rule out his suspicion of Chiya, and then asked, "Then who do you think did it?" "It was Uchiha Itachi." A low and old voice came from far away. Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others looked back, and saw Danzo walking over with a cane. Behind him, 2 root ninjas in black robes followed on the left and right. Danzo didn't know about the theft of Fugaku's body at this time, and continued, "Uchiha Itachi was full of disgust and hatred for his people. So he killed Shisu, and took his eyes. In this way, he provoked disputes with his fellow Uchiha people. And, in the end, it led to such a tragedy. It was him? How could it be? Kakashi's eyes flashed with surprise, and then asked, doesn't that mean Chiya was also killed by him? Hearing this, the other Anbu around also cast inquiring eyes at Danzo. Of course. Fujiwara Chiya is a jonin of Konoha. If he saw Uchiha Itachi slaughtering Konoha's fellow countrymen, he would naturally try his best to stop it, but unfortunately, he died at the hands of Uchiha Itachi. Upon learning that Chiya was dead, Danzo gave a positive answer. While feeling proud in his heart, he did not forget to show off to Sarutobi Hiruzen. It was as if he was saying, see, Hiruzen, my plan worked. I only sacrificed a little Fujiwara Chiya and easily solved the rebellion of the Uchiha clan. Hearing Danzo's words full of loopholes, as if they were prescient, Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that he could not let him continue. He placed his hands behind his back and said with his back to the crowd, don't dawdle, get to work. Hey, Kakashi and others responded respectfully and disappeared on the spot. As soon as Kakashi and others left, Danzo immediately waved away the two Anbu ninjas behind him, walked behind Sarutobi Hiruzen, and said proudly, this way everything is solved. What solve? Sarutobi Hiruzen turned around, his face gloomy and terrible. Danzo, you bastard, look at what you have done. You let the wolf into the house, not only slaughtered the Uchiha clan, but also killed my eldest son and daughter-in-law. I can no longer tolerate your dictatorship. Is Shinosuke dead? Danzo flashed a hint of surprise. Sarutobi Hiruzen ignored Danzo and continued, from today on, you will be dismissed as a Hokage's advisor, and the route will also be dismissed. But Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen's sudden strength caught Danzo off guard. At this moment, he seemed to see the young ninja hero, and his tone unconsciously weakened a bit. PS. Second update. Chapter 47 Itachi and the third generation. If it's for the village, then you don't have to say it. The Uchiha clan is also a fellow villager. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that Itachi must be hiding nearby, so he emphasized it deliberately, and then said impatiently, okay, I will issue the order tomorrow, and you should stay at home, and reflect on your mistakes in the future. After that, Sarutobi Hiruzen left with a wave of his sleeves. His grandson Sarutobi Konohamaru is less than 4 years old now. If he knows that his parents are dead, he really doesn't know what kind of blow he will suffer. He must go back and comfort him. But before that, he still needs to see someone, Uchiha Itachi, and he needs to confirm with him whether Kanai is really dead. In addition, the analysis team is using the mind reading technique to enter Shinosuke's mind and peek into his memory. He must know who the murderer is. Danzo, I saw it, and I will keep watching from now on. As long as you take action against Sasuke, I will leak all the information of the village to the enemy country. As soon as Sarutobi Hiruzen left, Uchiha Itachi used the crow clone technique to create a clone and warned Danzo, just like in the original work. Then, under the latter's gnashing eyes, he turned into a crow and disappeared in the Uchiha clan. At the same time, Kanai had already arrived at Yuhikuna's residence. As usual, after parting with my guy, Shiranagenma and others, Yuhikuna returned home and started her daily evening drink. The side dish was her favorite mustard octopus. Suddenly, a wave of sleepiness came, and the wine glass fell quietly and fell into Kanai's hands. Yuhikuna herself lay on the sofa in a daze. It's really a girl who doesn't let people worry about it. Kanai put down the wine glass and sighed helplessly. He cleaned up for her, like he did in the junior period. Then, he carried her to the bed, covered her with a quilt, took out the pure gold ring prepared in advance, put it on a thin rope, hung it around her neck, and stuffed it into the collar. Finally, he used the Sharingan to give her a psychological hint. This ring is very important to her. Don't leave it for a moment, let alone let outsiders know. Only then did he leave with peace of mind. He didn't tell Yuhikuna the truth. Even if he told Yuhi, it would do her no good. To him, the so-called fake death was just a smoker screen for the Konoha high-level officials. If the Konoha high-level officials had a bit of brains, they would know that it was him who did it through the dead bodies of the Sarutobi clan. At least it was someone wearing his Anbu clothes, wearing his Anbu mask, and holding his ninja sword. But his body appeared in public, and then disappeared out of thin air. They had no way to investigate. This was enough to confuse people. By the time the third generation and others reacted, it was too late. He had already escaped. This would also save a lot of trouble. On the other side, Uchiha Itachi had followed Sarutobi Hiruzen to a huge building off the road in Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen had his hands behind his back. Behind him, Uchiha Itachi, dressed as an Anbu ninja, was kneeling on one knee. You came here specially, so you must have something to say. I have already sent everyone away. Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a deep voice with his back to Uchiha Itachi. Itachi bowed his head and expressed his gratitude. Thank you for your trouble, Hokage-sama. First of all, I would like to thank you. In this way, Konoha avoided civil war and maintained the peace of the village. But I have always regretted that I have not found any other way so far. As soon as he came, Sarutobi Hiruzen gave Uchiha Itachi a compliment. If it were usual, Uchiha Itachi would be very moved. Unfortunately, after experiencing the extermination of the clan, seeing the ugly face of Danzo, and knowing that this was the result of the tacit consent of the third generation, he was no longer so naive. At this moment, the only concern in his heart was Sasuke. Of course, the third generation didn't know this. After the atmosphere was almost built up, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally spoke and got to the point. What are your plans next? This time, I used the power of a person who called himself the organizer of Akatsuki. I decided to stay with that person to prevent him from breaking his promise and attacking Konoha. Uchiha Itachi answered respectfully. As soon as he came, he showed his value to Sarutobi Hiruzen. So you are going to join the Akatsuki organization, right? A cold light flashed in Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes. He concluded that the death of his eldest son was closely related to the Akatsuki organization. Yes, for this, I would like to ask you to give me a promise. Uchiha Itachi stated the purpose of this trip. Don't worry about your brother. I will keep my promise. Sasuke will remain as he is, go to school like other children, and eventually grow up to be a ninja of Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned around and stared at Uchiha Itachi. But before that, I have a few questions to ask you. I will tell you everything I know. Uchiha Itachi nodded. I guess you know about the disappearance of the bodies of Fujiwara Chiya, Fugaku and several Uchiha clan members. Do you know who did it? And is Fujiwara Chiya really dead? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. Uchiha Itachi thought for a moment and said, I'm afraid that the only person who could make 7 corpses disappear in front of everyone's eyes is the one who worked with me to destroy the Uchiha clan. He controls an extremely strange space ninjutsu that can teleport and absorb freely without leaving any trace. As for Chiya, he is indeed dead. He died under the eye technique of my Mangekyou Sharingan's Tsukuyomi. In addition, I gave him a finishing blow and confirmed that he died on the spot. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt a little relieved and continued to ask, does that mean that my son also died in his hands? If Lord Shinosuke encountered that masked man, this possibility cannot be ruled out. Uchiha Itachi answered respectfully. Is that so? Sarutobi Hiruzen clenched his fists, suppressed the anger in his heart, turned his back to Uchiha Itachi, and said, from now on, Konoha will designate you as an S-level traitor and arrest you, regardless of life or death. I'll leave the Akatsuki organization to you. If there is a chance, I hope you can get rid of the masked man who may threaten the village. This is also the last task I give you. Yes. Uchiha Itachi responded respectfully, leaving this sentence and disappearing on the top floor of the Hokage building. After Uchiha Itachi left, Sarutobi Hiruzen punched the wall beside him. His face was hideous, veins on his forehead bulged, and he cursed in a low voice. Damn Danzo, damn Masked Man. Danzo and the Masked Man were secretly colluding. How could Sarutobi Hiruzen not know? It was just that the Uchiha coup was imminent, and he had no choice but to choose to turn a blind eye. Now the threat to Uchiha has been lifted, but his eldest son and daughter-in-law are dead, which he cannot tolerate. Unfortunately, he could do nothing about the Masked Man, and he couldn't really do anything to Danzo. He had no choice but to swallow his anger. PS. First update, please recommend and vote. I have something to do in the evening, so I will update in advance. Chapter 48. The third generation fainted with anger. Hokage-sama. It's not good. Just then, a voice of an Anbu came from far away. Sarutobi Hiruzen was startled, thinking to himself that it was not good. He knew that something big must have happened again outside Konoha village. Just like the original work, Uchiha Itachi came to the meeting place with Obito after dealing with the two root elites who were responsible for intercepting him. Are you finally here? How is it? Is everything arranged? Obito asked Uchiha Itachi with his arms folded, leaning against the giant tree. A breeze blew, and the leaves fluttered everywhere. Obito and Itachi's long hair fluttered in the wind. Well, let's go. Uchiha Itachi did not ask about the death of Sarutobi Shinosuke, nor did he ask about the missing bodies of the Uchiha clan. He had an agreement with Obito, one of which was to turn a blind eye to Obito's actions tonight. In exchange, Obito would keep his brother, and promised that he would not attack Konoha during his lifetime. No, we still need to wait for someone. Obito shook his head. Who? Uchiha Itachi was startled. He didn't expect that tonight. Besides him and Obito, there was actually a third person who participated in the Uchiha clan genocide. A new member of the Akatsuki organization. Obito replied lightly, and then he didn't say anything more, waiting quietly. Not long after, a figure quickly swept over. Every step he took would teleport dozens of meters. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived in front of the two. Are you finally here? Why didn't the little girl come with you? Obito stood up and said to the figure in the dark. As for Izumi, I would have used the reverse summoning technique to send her out of the village a long time ago. It won't be too late to summon her back when we get to a safe place. Kanai found a random excuse and slowly walked out of the darkness. Under the white moonlight, he revealed a fair young face. Fujiwara Chiya. How could it be you? Seeing who was coming, Uchiha Itachi was shocked and lost his voice, with disbelief on his face. Why can't it be me? Kanai asked back, with a slightly playful smile on his face. Itachi glanced at Obito. What's going on? As you can see, Chiya is now also a member of Akatsuki. Just as you joined Akatsuki in order to protect your brother, wipe out the Uchiha clan, and joined Akatsuki, he also chose the same path as you in order to protect that little Uchiha girl. As for the Chiya whom you killed, and the little girl of the Uchiha family, they were nothing more than substitutes created by Chiya using special means. Obito explained. Kanai walked up to Obito, and in the latter's extremely disgusted look, he put his arm around the latter's shoulder and said to Uchiha Itachi, what do you think? Uchiha Itachi who killed his father and mother, are you surprised? Are you shocked? Your proud Mangeki seems to be unable to do anything to me. Of course, you can also choose to use the pupil technique in your other right to deal with me, but the price of attacking me a second time may not be something you can bear. Uchiha Itachi looked at Kanai, then at Obito. From the latter's eyes, he saw the fear of Kanai. After thinking it over again and again, he replied lightly, I'm no longer a ninja of Konoha. Since you have also joined the Akatsuki organization, I will naturally not attack you again in the future. But I'm curious, Madara just said that you made the same choice as me, so can I understand that you also wiped out a family of Konoha? Of course. Kanai smiled lightly. While the two were talking, Obito on the side had already lost his patience and shook off Kanai's arm. Okay, let's talk on the way. It's time to set off. As soon as the voice fell, Obito used the instant body technique to disappear on the spot, and Kanai followed closely. Uchiha Itachi followed him and asked, which family did you destroy? On the one hand, Danzo threatened Izumi and ordered me to help you wipe out the Uchiha family. On the other hand, he ordered you to kill me and Izumi, but Sarutobi Hiruzen acquiesced to these. I have always been a person who will take revenge. Which family do you think I will destroy? Kanai glanced at Uchiha Itachi and laughed jokingly. Sarutobi and Shimura. Uchiha Itachi suddenly realized. He looked back at Konoha again, and a variety of emotions such as hesitation, horror, worry, and a trace of imperceptible joy flashed in his eyes. Finally, he turned into a long sigh and disappeared into the darkness behind Kanai and Obito. He sighed in his heart. It seems that Konoha is really going to change. On the other side, the Konoha Anbu, who had just collected the bodies of the Uchiha clan members, had no time to catch their breath before they entered the first level alert again. They were urgently gathered together, and their destination this time was not somewhere else. It was the Sarutobi clan's territory. Everywhere they looked, corpses were everywhere, and blood dyed the earth and buildings red. The deaths were extremely miserable. Even Kakashi and others who were used to seeing the miserable conditions of the Uchiha clan couldn't help but sigh and sighed in their hearts. How deep was the hatred that could allow them to do such a cruel thing? It was simply that no one was left alive. And Sarutobi Hiruzen felt dizzy at the moment and was about to go crazy. Just as he pulled out the thorn in his throat of the Uchiha clan, he received the news of his eldest son's death. As a result, it didn't take long for the bad news to come again. The youngest son's lower body was destroyed, his chest was severely injured, and 3 ribs were broken. He dragged his seriously injured body out of the Sarutobi clan's territory and finally fainted on the street due to excessive blood loss. He was found by the patrolling Enbu and sent to the medical department. The Enbu followed the bloodstains and entered the Sarutobi clan's territory to investigate, but saw a shocking scene similar to the Uchiha clan's territory. The whole clan was destroyed, corpses were everywhere, and almost no one survived. Looking at the corpses of the clan members on the ground, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart was beating. His consistent development strategy for the family is to make a fortune in silence. The Sarutobi clan can come to this day, from an unknown small family to a large clan, that is no less than the Uchiha clan today. But it is all the result of his hard work and painstaking management. It is the foundation of his life in his career as a Hokage. It is his last reliance. It was thought that after the Uchiha clan was destroyed, the Sarutobi clan would no longer be a threat in Konoha, and it would dominate the world and become the veritable first clan. The position of Hokage will also be passed down in the hands of his Sarutobi clan. But what happened was, damn it, they were all wiped out overnight. The only youngest son and grandson who survived were castrated. He himself is old. His wife died early. Even if she hadn't died, he couldn't till the land. The Sarutobi clan has been extinct since then. How can he remain calm? How can he be at ease? The more he thought about it, the angrier he got, the sadder he got, and the angrier he got. Sarutobi Hiruzen felt a black screen before his eyes, and he fainted on the spot without a breath. PS. Second update. Please recommend and vote for me. Thanks to Lilin Yeogsin for the 500 starting coins. Thanks to a Sabertooth Shark, Zuenman Leader Hangjin Leozu for the 100 starting coins. Thanks to One Click to Open the Heavenly Gate for the 1500 starting coins. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 Exposure. As Sarutobi Hiruzen fainted, a group of Anbu led by Kakashi immediately surrounded him and escorted Sarutobi Hiruzen to the medical department. Not long after, with the full rescue of many medical ninjas, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally recovered and his complexion gradually returned to normal. "How is Hokage-sama?" Kakashi asked the medical ninja. "Hokage-sama is fine. He was just anxious just now. He just needs to recuperate for a while," the medical ninja sighed. Hearing this, including Kakashi, many Enbu in the medical room breathed a sigh of relief. Konoha has just experienced a major change. The Uchiha clan, the Sarutobi clan, and the Shimura clan have been destroyed one after another. If the third Hokage falls at this time, it will be a big deal. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen slowly opened his eyes. "Kakashi Hokage-sama, are you okay?" Hearing this, Kakashi hurriedly helped Sarutobi Hiruzen up, and someone put a quilt on him. "I'm fine now." Sarutobi Hiruzen breathed a sigh of relief, but his spirit was still sluggish. He said in a deep voice, "What's the situation?" Looking at the increasingly old and weak face of the Hokage, Kakashi felt heartbroken. He hesitated and said, "Except Asuma and Konohamaru, no one in the entire clan survived." Sarutobi Hiruzen continued to ask, "Are there any clues about the murderer?" Kakashi sorted out his thoughts and said, "The analysis team is still searching for the time being, but judging from the modus operandi, the murderer seems to be the same person who killed Shinosuke-sama. In addition, we also found a hidden barrier around the Sarutobi clan that can block sound, smell and even chakra induction. In addition, the murderer seems to have known the time of the Uchiha clan's extermination in advance, and chose this time period while we were focusing our attention on the Uchiha clan's land. As a result, our Anbu could not detect any movement in the Sarutobi clan's land at all. If Asuma had not run out of the barrier, I'm afraid we would not have been able to detect the situation inside until now. There is one more thing Kakashi did not say. That is, the Sarutobi clan, as the family of the third generation of Hokage, is not as dazzling as the Uchiha and Hyuga clan in Konoha, but it is a real transcendent existence. Even if someone finds something wrong inside, no one dares to go in and investigate. This is the real reason why the Sarutobi clan was exterminated for several hours without anyone noticing. Arsehole. Sarutobi Hiruzen lost his composure in front of his subordinates for the first time, spitting out swear words, and said sternly, "Quickly do your best to rescue Konohamaru and Asuma. In addition, go to each courtyard of the Sarutobi clan and select 2 corpses of middle and low ninjas for me, and send them to the analysis department. For such a crime, the murderer must not be allowed to go unpunished." "Yes, Hokage." Everyone heard the words, responded respectfully, and dispersed. After Kakashi left, Shimura Danzo walked in with a cane. "Hiruzen. What, are you here to see me laugh at me?" Sarutobi Hiruzen glared at Danzo fiercely and said coldly, "I'm here to share your hatred for the enemy." Danzo's face was gloomy. Just now, he also learned that his family was wiped out. The whole family was killed, and no one was left alive. What does this mean? Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes flashed with surprise. "Not only you, but my family was also wiped out. There are 87 people in the whole family, and no one survived." As he said this, there was a snap, and the crutch in Danzo's hand was crushed. He has always been a person who likes to say ninjas need to sacrifice themselves. But when it was his turn, he couldn't do it. The whole family was wiped out, and the Shimura clan has been extinct since then. He is ashamed of his ancestors. At this time, the Konoha analysis department finally got news. Hokage-sama, Director Yamanaka Inoichi has read out the memories of Shinosuke-sama before his death. Not long after, the director of the Konoha analysis department, Yamanaka Inoichi, personally brought the analysis results to the Konoha hospital. "Hokage-sama, Danzo-sama. Because there are a lot of seals in Shinosuke-sama's brain, it took a lot of time. According to the order issued by Hokage-sama, I only read Shinosuke-sama's memory within the last 5 minutes of his death. Please see." As soon as Yamanaka Inoichi finished speaking, the curtains of the medical room were all pulled down, and the room suddenly darkened. A light curtain suddenly appeared. In the light curtain, Shinosuke and his 5 companions had been lurking at the door of the Uchiha clan. There was almost no abnormality in the first 4 minutes, until 4 minutes and 15 seconds, when Shinosuke's wife was ordered to leave the place. At 4 minutes and 20 seconds, an unidentified object shaped like a human head suddenly fell, attracting the attention of the remaining 4 Anbu. At 4 minutes and 25 seconds, an Anbu was pierced through the chest by a sharp blade. At 4 minutes and 35 seconds, the murderer finally revealed his true identity. He was a young man wearing Anbu clothes and a smiling mask. Fujiwara Chiya. Seeing this scene, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo both exclaimed at the same time. Yamanaka Inoichi paused the light screen and handed the 2 of them Chiya's information. "Hokage-sama, Danzo-sama, it is indeed unbelievable, but according to the information sent by Anbu Captain Kakashi, Fujiwara Chiya should have died, and his mask and saber are missing, and now even his body has been stolen. Plus, the strength of this mysterious man is much stronger than the Chiya we remember, so we can't accurately determine the identity of the mysterious man. Keep it down," Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a deep voice. At 4 minutes and 40 seconds, the 2 Anbu were beheaded by the mysterious man. At 4 minutes and 45 seconds, Sarutobi Shinosuke was caught by the wind blade with one finger by the mysterious man. At 4 minutes and 50 seconds, Sarutobi Shinosuke was cut in the chest. 10 seconds later, he completely lost consciousness and the impact ended. When he saw the speed shown by Chiya, Danzo could no longer control his emotions and shouted, "It's him. Hiruzen, this guy is the one who cut off my left arm. Are you sure?" Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned, and the situation seemed to be developing in an uncontrollable direction. You know, that mysterious man stole Shizuka to Matsukami right eye. It's definitely him. Whether it's swordsmanship or instant body movement, there is absolutely no other person in the current ninja world who can do it. Danzo said firmly. But Chiya was only 11 years old at the time. He hadn't even graduated from the ninja school, hadn't learned any ninjutsu, and hadn't received any decent guidance. How could he be so strong? Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned more and more, and tilted his head to look at Yamanaka Inoichi. Inoichi, you haven't shown this video to anyone else, have you? No, Hokage. According to your order, no one except me knows about it. Yamanaka Inoichi replied solemnly. Have other Sarutobi and Shimura clans investigated it? Sarutobi Hiruzen continued to ask. PS. First update. Please recommend and vote for the monthly ticket. Thanks to Quasar for the reward of 5,000 Kidian coins. Thanks to Darkstar Emperor for the reward of 3,000 Kidian coins. Thanks to ZK Sour Lemon and Huyai for the reward of 100 Kidian coins. And thanks to Pippa's Sadness for the reward of 400 Kidian coins. More updates will be given today. Chapter 50, S-Rank Rebel, entering Akatsuki. According to your instructions, we only check the memories within 5 minutes of their lives. There is no doubt that they all died at the hands of a mysterious person who looked like Fujiwara Chiya. And during my analysis, I saw the mysterious person use a ninjutsu similar to Kakishi's lightning style Chidori. According to my assertion, it is very likely that the one who performed these two ninjutsu was just a shadow clone. As he spoke, Yamanaka Inoichi played the video of Chiya's shadow clone using Chidori Sharp Spear and Chidori Senbon to slaughter dozens of Sarutobi family ninjas. Looking at the scene in the video, that was like cutting melons and vegetables. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo were silent, their faces becoming more solemn. Inoichi, seal these videos together. I will send someone to collect the bodies of Shinosuke and others later. From now on, it will be classified as Konoha's highest level secret. No one is allowed to view it without my order. Sarutobi Hiruzen got up from the bed and said to Yamanaka Inoichi, yes. Yamanaka Inoichi responded respectfully, put away the equipment, and disappeared into the room. The curtains were drawn, and the room was bright again. Danzo said, Hiruzen, Fujiwara Chiya once learned Chidori from Kakashi. With that kid's talent for ninjutsu, it's not surprising that he spent a year to fully sublimate Chidori. All signs point to Chiya. In my opinion, that kid must have pretended to be dead. Otherwise, why would the body disappear out of thin air? Just give the order. Sarutobi Hiruzen heard this and did not answer directly. He was always weak to the outside world and attacked hard at home, so he would always hesitate at the critical moment. He was not blinded by hatred, because whether it was Chiya who slaughtered his entire family or not, it had greatly exceeded the control of him, the strongest Hokage of all generations. With the strength shown by that person, even if he sent the funeral troops to conquer him. Let's not talk about whether he can catch up. Even if he catches up, it's just a meal. After all, Konoha has lost the Uchiha clan and the Sarutobi clan one after another, and also a Shimura family. It really can't withstand the blow. If Konoha suffers heavy losses again, because of his wrong decision, then the loss will outweigh the gain. By then, can he still sit on the position of Hokage safely? After thinking again and again, Sarutobi Hiruzen gave a plan that he thought was safe. Notify me that Fujiwara Chiya is suspected of killing the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan. From now on, he and Uchiha Itachi will be judged as S-level traitors. Is it going to be easy for that kid? Danzo's eyes were bloodshot, and he said unwillingly, what else do you want? Sarutobi Hiruzen exposed his nature of bullying and said sternly, not to mention that Fujiwara Chiya died in public. Even if the murderer is really him, where are you going to find him? How to catch him after finding him? He can kill all my clansmen by himself in such a short time. If I send you, can you catch him? Hearing this, Danzo's tone immediately weakened. No matter how reluctant he was to admit it, the strength shown by the mysterious man was indeed far beyond the scope that ordinary ninjas could handle. Unless they used human wave tactics and used human lives to fill the gap, they really couldn't catch him. Sarutobi Hiruzen said impatiently, okay, this matter must be done slowly. I believe that, even if I don't say it, you know the situation in Konoha. The most important thing at the moment is to stabilize the overall situation, and I will still announce your punishment tomorrow. If you really want to do it for the village, you should accept the punishment with peace of mind. As for other things, don't get involved too much. Regarding Fujiwara Chiya, I will secretly send someone to follow up. He planned to spend a huge amount of money, and at all costs, he would also issue a reward in the underground exchange, determined to find Chiya for revenge. No matter whether Chiya is the murderer or not, he must see the person alive or the body dead. Even if he is not, even if he is really dead, he must get his body, read from his mind, who stole his mask and sword, and find out the real murderer who killed his Sarutobi clan. The Uchiha clan, the Sarutobi clan, and the Shimura clan were annihilated. Two S-rank rebels appeared in Konoha at the same time. This was undoubtedly a bombshell. Uchiha Itachi, an S-rank rebel, crime, slaughtering the entire Uchiha clan. Fujiwara Chiya, an S-rank rebel, crime, suspected of slaughtering the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan, suspected of killing many members of the Anbu of Konoha. As soon as the two wanted orders came out, all the ninjas and civilians in Konoha were immediately alarmed. Uchiha Itachi and his friends could still understand. After all, under the suppression of the Konoha high-level officials and the influence of the Konoha guard system, almost most people did not have much good feelings towards the Uchiha clan. They thought they were crazy. And there was also Uchiha Sasuke, a survivor, as ironclad evidence. It seemed not surprising that they did such a crazy thing as genocide. But Fujiwara Chiya was strange. Not only Kakashi and other Anbu who had seen the body of Chiya, but even most of the civilians in Konoha were willing to believe this. Let's not talk about whether he has the strength to destroy the Sarutobi clan led by the third Hokage and the Shimura clan led by Danzo. Even if he has it, he has no motivation. You know, in the eyes of everyone, Kyuubi has always been an excellent ninja with elegant manners, kindness, and politeness, who loves the village and cherishes his companions. Before joining the Anbu, especially during the transition from Genin to Jonin, he was respected by the villagers. Even the old elite Jonin of Konoha, such as Kakashi, also admired him. Now he suddenly became an S-level rebel, which is really unbelievable. Of course, this is only temporary. According to the public opinion of Konoha F4, it won't be long before more than 99% of the people in Konoha will hate Kyuubi. If you say you have a problem, you have a problem. Even white can be said to be black. Not to mention that this is originally black. Sarutobi Hiruzen issued a bounty for Kyuubi and defined him as an S-level rebel. Kyuubi didn't know. Even if he knew, he wouldn't care. Because at this moment, he has followed Obito to the base of the Akatsuki organization, the Land of Rain. This is a country where it rains at least half of the year. It is also the worst country in Naruto. A land dedicated to war. Located at the intersection of the Land of Fire, the Land of Wind, and the Land of Earth. Sandwiched between three countries. Suffering from war. Chiya, Obito, and Uchiha Itachi came to the Rain village in a small boat. Perhaps because they knew that there would be guests coming today, Nagato did not perform the Rain Tiger Free technique. Chiya was also glad that he did not have to become a drowned chicken. Following Obito, Chiya and Uchiha Itachi got on the boat and went down the stream. In the organization, everyone calls me a Fei. I'm not a formal member. I'm an apprentice with no great ability. You need to pay attention to your attitude towards me in the future. At this moment, Uchiha Obito has cut his hair short, and his mask has changed from the original tiger stripes to a vortex-shaped orange mask. He stood at the bow, folded his arms, and said to the 2PS, "Second update, please recommend and vote for me." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.